The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey,
What?
let's go!
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for.
Ah!
The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers,
You pig!
damn it! Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life.
Sport!
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to our humble abode, the Thunderdome, on this Super Bowl week kickoff Monday, February 5th, 2024. This program starts now.
Football!
We have made it, ladies and gentlemen. It is officially Super Bowl week. The climb to the top of the mountain for 32 NFL teams started months and months and months ago, and now, just 6 days away from crowning a new or back-to-back NFL champion, we are nothing short of elated, excited, and baffled by the people that say they're not pumped up about the Niners taking on the Chiefs with Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, in his second year being favored by 1.5 against Patrick Mahomes, the Kansas City Chiefs, who have been there, done that, and are in the middle of a dynastic run. It is a great time to be alive. We can't thank you enough for allowing us to do this every single day. Now, this past weekend had the Pro Bowl,
What?
the NHL All-Star,
What?
and the Grammys. Football girl won 2 Grammys.
Yeah. Sweet.
Actually, if you put Lainey Wilson into the football girl world
Yeah.
because she
Yeah.
dates Duck
Hell yeah.
Hodges, we got 3 Grammys in the football world.
Boom.
Hell yeah, music industry, you're welcome. We can't thank you enough, and today should be fantastic. We got Adam Schefter joining us in about 14 minutes. There's been some hirings. There was somebody at a place,
Whoa.
and then they were no longer at that place. Now they're at a new place. Cliff Kingsbury was the offense coordinator for the Raiders, and then we actually broke the news, talked about it, everybody broke the news, and then over the weekend, no, that's not real. Now he's with the Commanders. We'll talk to Schefter about that and anything else that's kind of lingering. Dahn Orlovsky will join us.
Whoa.
I don't know if you saw, he was an athlete this weekend down at the Pro Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Let's not talk about what he said coming out of his mouth. Let's talk about what his arm did, where he wasn't talking at all, by the way. Maybe the greatest thing that Dahn Orlovsky has ever done on ESPN, he said 4 words.
Something to think about.
We'll ask him about it.
Yeah.
We'll also be joined by PK Subban because the NHL All-Star weekend was this past weekend. It was awesome. I feel like they maybe stole the show of the weekend. And Lincoln Riley would join us for his 5th interview of the day.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, we'll ask him what the hell he hasn't talked about on every other program that he's already been on. Must be a recruiting season for Lincoln Riley. Excited to talk to him about Caleb Williams, Cliff Kingsbury. He's going to the Commanders. Also, is this USC team ever going to be able to play defense, Lincoln? Can't wait for that convo. The Talks Table is here at Boston Connor and at Ty Schmidt. Long sleeve shirt today, combo.
Yeah, second long sleeve. I've actually kind of grown accustomed to these long sleeve shirts. I didn't like them in the beginning, like them now. It's, kind of warm out, kind of cold out, that in-between weather, if you will, which unfortunately we learned this morning, at least some of us, that Vegas will, in fact, be in-between weather
Yeah,
this week.
what's the deal?
Yeah, not nice out in Vegas, allegedly.
Yeah, because I was taking tank tops and short sleeve shirts.
Of course.
I guess it's going to be a low of 38 out there, high of like 52 all week in Las Vegas. I think there's some rain too. I think the rain's coming from Southern California. T's and P's to everybody over there. There's floods happening all over the place. We hope, obviously, that settles as quickly as possible. But yeah, what's the deal? We go to Vegas, it's the desert. Now we got to deal with rain and colder weather than in Indianapolis this week.
Yeah.
Don't love that, but the vibes will be high because we'll be at Radio Row starting on Wednesday, Ty Schmidt.
Cannot wait. I mean, it was very difficult to sleep this weekend for a number of reasons.
A lot.
Well, it's hard whenever you're guzzling Jack.
Well,
Sure.
I actually couldn't do that much because, like you, like a lot of people, this goddamn congestion, cold, kind of mixture, just basically eating 14. Well, you can't have more than 12, but just shoveling Mucinex down my gullet all weekend. So it was tough to sleep because of that.
Allowed to have 10. 11's fine.
Yeah.
12, actually not that bad.
You'll be okay.
But don't have any more than 12 Mucinexes.
If you have 13, you will die on the spot once it goes down your throat. But, yeah, I mean, just excited about Vegas. And then on top of it, Friday night, just heartbroken because I don't know if Cody's going to be able to finish.
I had to drink so much because of that.
That's one half of the hammer.
Dahn.
Cowboys turn digs. What's your problem?
I mean, is Cody going to be able to finish his story? I mean, what, some all-time great who's got the biggest pops of all time for the last 30 years thinks he's going to come in here and steal Cody's story?
All right, for those that don't know what is being talked about right now, Rock and Roman Reigns seemingly is going to take place at WrestleMania. This has been a dream matchup that people have been talking about and wondering about for actually years and years and years and years, decades even, if you want to dive into the entire story of the bloodline and the family that Roman Reigns is from, that has deep ties in history in the WWE. And all those people are going crazy right there because they heard smoke when The Rock came out and basically announced to the world that Cody Rhodes will not be taking on Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. After Cody Rhodes said he'll get that eventually, The Rock is taking his spot, and now wrestling fans all over the place are incredibly pissed off that Cody Rhodes was supposed to get the job done, finally. You know, there was a title, the one that Roman Reigns has, that Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, who's the American Nightmare's father, was handed in Madison Square Garden and then taken away. Everything that Cody's been doing has been trying to get that title back into his family. Seemingly going to have to wait at least another few months while The Rock, the biggest star in the world, biggest star on planet Earth, will be taking on his cousin Roman Reigns for the head of the table conversation that has been chatted about forever. Now, I love Cody Rhodes.
Who doesn't?
I love The Rock. And I love Roman Reigns.
Of course.
So I'm very torn on this entire thing, but the internet was not happy.
Are you
and
torn?
Tone Diggs sounds like a guy who's representing for the people. I almost said a word there.
Well, I was being incredibly sarcastic. I'm not a smark, okay?
Okay.
This is The Rock we're
Did
talking
you just
about.
learn what that word it was?
Maybe. Might have. Don't even really know what it means, to be honest.
They're going to clip this and say, this is the problem.
This guy,
This guy doesn't get
This
it.
is The Rock we're talking about.
I'm
okay?
bummed out. I still don't know what's all going to take place between now and WrestleMania. Obviously, there's a show on Thursday at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. There's Monday Night Raw tonight in St. Louis. Can't wait to get there. Ooh. But yeah, I did not expect the opening of this show to be about this, but we are pretty bummed out.
Yep,
Definitely bummed out.
We're all pretty bummed out for Cody, but also very pumped that this is a Rock Roman situation. 9-year NFL vet, a man who you were telling me you want Cody to finish your story. Just a little bit. There he's straight
Nah.
What?
I don't know who his smarks are. I'm a casual, but I did come up in attitude era.
Yeah, bingo.
Rocky's back. That's all that matters. Right? Put him where he wants. He does what he wants when he wants to do it.
There he is.
Roman has had the title for what? How long now?
1,400? 4 years. Jeez. 4 years, I think. 3 years.
So, I'm excited about it.
Well, there's a scene from Young Rock where they actually kind of projected this and talked about how it would be the biggest ever, and The Rock was talking about that. And I don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, in WWE, you can never know what's going to take place.
No.
But certainly got people pissed off on a Friday. Also happening this weekend on Friday and Saturday and Sunday were numerous All-Star and Pro Bowl events. Let's start with the NFL. Pro Bowl games is this new idea, concept to keep the Pro Bowl alive. The NFC, led by Eli Manning, once again victorious, beating the AFC in the Pro Bowl games in its entirety. I will say Peyton Manning seemingly did not have the AFC boys ready for the games that were taking place in between the quarters. The NFC pretty much clean sweep in those particular points and values. I think you would have to give the edge to Eli Manning in the coaching department because he had them kind of jacked up about the things that maybe didn't matter as much. You can certainly roll some of the B-roll here. So this is something that did get talked about, but should. Hutch there excited. Jason Kelsey working the sled and the boys pushing it to a victory. That was just one of many dubs by the NFC team, and they seem to be much more invested, much more excited.
Big time.
Much more want and will to win than the AFC. And I think what you see from these types of events is the fact that the players are still bought in. I know fans might be like a little bit pissed off about the Pro Bowl games maybe being a little Mickey Mouse.
Sure.
No offense.
No offense. ESPN, Mickey Mouse. But whenever you see the players and they're giving effort and you see them celebrating with each other and chit-chatting about the spirit of the Pro Bowl, which is getting a chance to chat with the other guys around the league who carry the league and carry their teams and everything like that, I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's a beautiful celebration. I'm excited for it to continue to evolve. But at some point, okay, the AFC is going to have to figure out how to play better.
Got to figure it out. And I saw Bruce tweet last night. The GOAT Slayer strikes again. I think Eli's undefeated again now. And you're right. They were more bought in or more invested. You just saw that tug of war. Pretty embarrassing for the AFC squad.
55,000 people allegedly filled that stadium.
55,000 people were in that stadium. Wow.
That place was filled for this Pro Bowl games. They were worried that the weather was not going to hold up. It's Florida. Weather is easy come, easy go. But all in all, I think the Pro Bowl games in the NFL's eyes would be considered a smashing success. And I'd like to thank all the players for buying in.
Yeah.
Thank you to the players for buying in and doing this thing and understanding that we do need to keep value on the Pro Bowl. We do need to keep it alive. And although we might need to change some things, and Ray Lewis was allegedly caught on a mic saying some stuff, but I think this is good news for the NFL as a whole, and I'm pumped about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, going into it, after Thursday, I definitely wasn't, too pumped up about the entire thing, but this was sweet. The flag football itself, I thought, was awesome. The smaller field, this throw was ridiculous from C.J. Stroud, and obviously immediately after Jamar Chase, people are saying, hey, he wants to go play in Houston now.
Well, he actually said, C.J., come play with me. In the moment, they got caught up, they got excited, which is a part of the Pro Bowl,
right?
Where there's new alliances and new friendships and new bonds and everything. And then Jamar Chase tweeted afterwards, Joey B's my guy, has been since college. Let's all settle down and relax. There were some big plays made. There were some highlights made. There was some corny shit.
Of course.
Okay, there certainly was some corny stuff that took place. But all in all, I would assume the NFL thinks this is a win.
Yeah, when it boils down to it, it's one effort and two, the games that you have the athletes play. The games that were cool, and the athletes tried at, everything was awesome. The games that were, not best catch. Maybe best catch we kind of, get rid of.
That's the drop
or
ball.
maybe, rethink it. But
only one guy caught the ball in the best catch competition.
Yeah. When
they voted on it,
and
they still had the live vote for who would win.
And why is Jimmy Clausen, no offense, how is Jimmy Clausen the quarterback for this entire thing?
Not the same.
I appreciate that he is. I've got a chance to hang around Jimmy Clausen. I think he's a great time. But the whole thought of Jimmy Clausen's the quarterback here, certainly fascinating. They want us to care, but you got Jimmy Clausen throwing the ball. But I do like the Puka Nacua in his first attempt, obviously. Ooh, doesn't get it. He's going 20 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Whoa, 20?
Jimmy Clausen hasn't thrown a football in 10 years.
Right.
So how do you want it? Second attempt, though. How you doing? Puka Nacua makes a play. That's Puka Nacua football.
Exactly.
That was a great catch. Now, David Njoku of the Cleveland Browns was also in the best catch. He decided he was going to do a swing rope with who's that?
Chad
Henne.
He's the one that beat the Browns for the Chiefs a couple years ago.
Yeah, a couple years ago, 10 of them. And he's throwing the ball. And although this was cool and the pool was very blue, and we certainly won it, David Njoku would do the same exact thing 3 times, not catch the ball 1 time. They would put it out there and say, hey, you want this to win best catch? Think we could probably
game it,
do without that. But it's I appreciate all the effort that goes into it. I appreciate Njoku trying. And the long snapping thing.
Yeah.
Okay, Jason Kelsey's not a long snapper, although he was long snapping. He's also one of the biggest stars on earth right now, host of the biggest pod on earth. The fact that he bought in to do this, everybody should be thanking their lucky charms that he decided not to just say, this is the dumbest thing of all time to have centers do that. So him buying in's good. He would hit the 5. There was a long snapper that got 0 points. That guy's an embarrassment to special teams. He needs to go ahead and rethink his entire life and come back a lot better. But some of the games need to be reimagined, I think. But I appreciate the energy. Killebrew, catching 6 balls, phenomenal. I really appreciate that this was an event. So some things got right, some things were wrong, but as we move forward, it felt like the energy was there.
They're trying, which is really, I guess, all you can ask for, because it is tough. I mean, all these guys, when you're getting down there with alternates, when certain guys don't necessarily want to go. You got to find something that works. It was entertaining for what it was. I think we all know that the Pro Bowl is not going to be like it was when we had Peyton on, and for players especially, it's a big deal. It was a massive honor. The guys who were there, it seemed for the most part, most of them actually did enjoy it. And not to step on, like, I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about it, but I think what they need to do, like the NHL All-Star game, when Connor McDavid wins the skills competition, he gets $1 million. Like, there's an investment there. I can't remember who reported it, but I think for the flag football game, the winners got like $89,000 or something like that. Like, and I know $89,000 is a lot of money, but if you want the really premier guys who aren't playing in the Super Bowl to come to this event, like, I think you got to pony up some money and turn it into like an actual competition. Because even with like the quarterback thing, it seemed like a couple of the guys took it seriously, a couple of the guys were kind of just going through the motion, and it's like if you're not really invested, then this doesn't really seem like the kind of thing that can be sustainable for the future.
Well, if Dan Orlovsky is going to be slinging it,
True.
that would be something that is great. Maybe the most athletic thing Dan Orlovsky's ever done while being filmed on ESPN. His most watched and most appreciated video he's ever had on ESPN. And he didn't say a single word, seemingly, D-Butch.
Dano can still spin it. And I think he came out after and said, hey, look, guys, there's one thing I can do, and that's throw the ball. And for him to go out there in the suit, no jacket on, just sling it. Like you said, Ty, it seemed like some of the quarterbacks weren't necessarily invested. I don't love that. If you're out there, just be out there, compete. Don't be too cool for school. But Dan going out there doing his thing, and I think didn't he score the highest?
Yep.
Highest point total.
The gourd on him to do that. That son of a bitch to go out there and embarrass all the other quarterbacks was messed up, I thought.
I appreciated the fact that, and we'll talk to him here in a bit, and he said he's starting to feel bad.
Good.
Everybody's saying what they're saying. Hey, Dan,
You don't believe
don't
that
feel
for a
bad
second.
at all. At all.
Yeah.
At all.
Got balled out.
He's so happy that this was released, and he's so happy that it happened, as he should be, throwing dimes. There's a couple guys that were throwing balls where I thought to myself, this can't be real.
Right.
Missing little thinkers.
Exactly.
Quick one.
Missing little, and it's like, come on, boys. Come on, boys.
What are
But
we
the fact
doing?
that they do it, we're appreciative.
Absolutely.
And that's not just us being a shill for ESPN because that's what it was on. It's because, like, we're football fans, and the first weekend without football was pretty tough.
It was.
Brutal.
So watching that flag football, we're like, oh, there's a good play.
Yeah.
Watching the talk, well, boys are invested. Boys are excited. So shout out to the Pro Bowl. Joining us now is a man who knows all the inside information for everything happening in the NFL, senior NFL insider at ESPN. Ladies and gentlemen, Michigan man, Adam Schefter.
Gentlemen, what's going on?
Shefty, where the hell are you at?
I am in a hotel room here in Vegas. I'm getting ready to take my daughter to media night. She has a room set up, Pat, and this is a true story here. I've been covering the Super Bowl for 30 years. Wow. I've never had a room set up for me for one-on-one interviews at the Super Bowl ever. But this year, my daughter, at the age of 15, has a room set up for her for one-on-one interviews with Rashee Rice and Isaiah Pacheco and George Kittle and various people.
Well, that's certainly not how you pronounce Rashee Rice's name, but nepotism's a beautiful thing sometimes.
What's the best way of saying it? Rashee Rice?
Yeah, I
Boom,
think so.
there we go.
He had a great send off.
Rashee.
Yeah, I think
I
so.
thought it was Rashee.
Well,
Rashee.
yeah.
Okay. Well,
Well, ask your daughter.
Yeah.
She's the one doing the interviews. I think that'll potentially be a better way to do it. It's supposed to be chilly out there in Vegas. It's warmer here in Indianapolis, and it's going to be in Las Vegas all week. So obviously, we can't wait to get out to the desert alongside of you. Have you seen this stuff about the San Francisco 49ers equipment crew potentially saying that the grass at the UNLV facility, which is beautiful. We've seen the photos of the new $230 million or $30-some million facility UNLV has. And the firmness of the natural grass is not exactly what the San Francisco 49ers want. And this was reported by Jonathan Jones at CBS Sports. And then there was another statement that came out basically from the NFL that was like, it's not a health and safety issue. It's simply a preference issue for the San Francisco 49ers. Is this all just a bunch of bullshit here, Super Bowl week? And do you think this is actually going to be an issue with the Niners and where they're practicing at all week?
Well, I can tell you, having spoken to various Niners people already, they don't seem particularly pleased. Now, they're going to be on the practice field for the first time today at noon Pacific, but there already have been complaints that there are seams in the practice field, that it feels like they're walking around on a sponge. I guess the NFL last week laid sod on top of the field turf, and this has nothing to do with UNLV. UNLV is kind of an innocent bystander in this, and the league has rules or bylaws or procedures that are set up that call for the Super Bowl practice fields to be checked out and mandated by December. And last week they're laying the turf on there. Now, the league is saying it's not a player's safety health issue, not in violation, all those things. That's fine. I can tell you the Niners are not happy with the practice conditions of that field that the league is in charge of maintaining. And they feel like it's a disadvantage right now. That's my daughter.
Superstar! Superstar!
There you go. Anyway, they're not happy about having to practice on this field. And so the Chiefs are practicing at the Raiders practice facility. Now, there are scores that are assigned to practice fields, and the average score should be in the mid to high 70s. And the Raiders practice field, where the Chiefs are practicing, is at an 80. And the Niners believe that their practice field, that the average score is in the 50s. So they feel like it's a hazard and a disadvantage. Now, they're going to step on the field today. We'll see what the players say. But they're not happy about where they're practicing, I can tell you that.
It's the Super Bowl. It's the highest level. We're the NFL. We're making billions of dollars. We're the two teams that are going to be in front of 120 million, we'll say 130 million people on Sunday. They feel as if they should have the best of the best, which only makes sense. And obviously, turf has been the topic of conversation over the last few years. How does this get fixed? Will the Niners bring in different turf? Will they find a different place to play? Or do they just kind of have to shut up and deal with it regardless?
I think there are a couple of options that are being discussed. I think, the Niners would prefer to stay at UNLV. I think that the league may wind up offering that somehow they share practice times at the Raiders facility, but that becomes an inconvenience. You don't want it to continue to uproot and move around. And again, that'll be up to them to decide. It'll be up to the league to see if it can address it in an appropriate way. I think that we haven't heard the last of it, and let's see how the Niners react once the players take the field. But again, like I was told, there are seams on the practice field, and it feels like they're practicing on a sponge surface.
It's the highest level, Schefter.
Come on.
It's the highest level. You hear players say that around the locker room whenever something happens, like, this is the highest level. Remember, this is the highest level. The Super Bowl is, like us dealing with that turf last year.
It's also interesting. Last year, we're coming up the incident last year where in the Super Bowl, players were sliding around on that field in the Super Bowl. And now, again, when we get to Allegiant Stadium on Sunday and the game is played, there won't be any issues there, I don't expect. But this week, Niners, not happy.
Okay,
not happy.
I'm assuming that they'll just continue to use that as a chip on their shoulder. Everybody's out to get us, obviously. People bash Brock Purdy, even though they're favored by 1.5 against Patrick Mahomes, who continues to be an underdog and continues to relish in that role.
I don't get that.
To just continue. It just... somehow, and for all the hate on Brock Purdy, it's like the sports books don't see it that way. Sports books are like, yep, he's favored, actually, against Patrick Mahomes and the boys. And I know it's the team. Quarterback has to execute. Love a little drama, though.
Yes.
Love a little drama and controversy to kind of start this entire week. Speaking of drama and controversy, Cliff Kingsbury was the Las Vegas Raiders offense coordinator on Friday when we did our show. Congratulations, Cliff. We even ran a clip of AQ Shipley talking about Cliff Kingsbury, how he's a grinder. He's there first before anybody else. Loves film. Will get the most out of his players. And then all of a sudden it starts lingering over the weekend. Actually, he's Washington Commanders offensive coordinator. I heard it was a contractual dispute with the Raiders. What took place? How did we get here? And congrats to the Commanders, I guess, finding an incredible offense coordinator. But what the hell happened with Las Vegas and Cliff Kingsbury, Schefter?
It was a contractual dispute. There was a disagreement over the terms. And my understanding, unconfirmed, but my understanding is that when we look at these teams around the league right now, they're offering their assistant coaches, by and large, 3-year contracts. And in this particular case, I think the Raiders are at 2, and I think Cliff Kingsbury's got 2 years left at least on the deal that the Cardinals are currently paying. So there really wouldn't have been any added guaranteed money by taking it on. Now, to me, it doesn't seem like a big deal, and maybe I'm missing something, but there was that disagreement over the 3rd year that I believe contributed significantly to the breakdown in these talks and to Washington going ahead and giving him a 3-year contract, like most assistants have gotten during this hiring cycle, like most people have gotten. So I think it was a contractual deal where they in Las Vegas weren't willing to give 3 years. Washington was more than happy to give 3 years, and Cliff Kingsbury now is the offensive coordinator in Washington. It also goes to show you, it's really interesting. Again, from my standpoint, like Dan Quinn, the news comes out. There's more of a rush than ever in the reporting world to get that a guy's hired. So when is he exactly hired? Right? Like, is he hired when both sides agree, or is he hired when he signs the contract? Like, you'll notice Dan Quinn didn't sign the contract until this weekend, but the news came out Thursday that they hired him.
That's your guys' fault. That's you and other insiders' fault, though. Is it just like, and I guess you would be the one that would be able to answer this. So when people just kind of, like Cliff Kingsbury and the Raiders was just understood to be taking place, so it's just like both sides are there.
Yeah. Well, the language, it's always the language. And the language in the Cliff Kingsbury to the Raiders case was the Raiders are expected to hire him. And they were. There was an agreement. They wanted to hire him. He wanted to go. And then they had a disagreement over the contract terms. Now, 98, 99% of the time, they're able to resolve the differences so that when it's reported that a team is expected to hire Pat McAfee as their punter or their offensive coordinator, the host of their show, whatever it may be, that deal is going to get done. In this particular case, the rare case, it didn't.
I guess that's true.
Right?
Because, I mean, when it was announced about our ESPN deal, we are nowhere near signed.
Yeah.
It was like,
there you go.
And we're like, hey.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So who made it such that the deal is done? So that's why I'm always very careful, a lot of people are, about the language used. Like, the Raiders plan to hire Cliff Kingsbury. They expected that. He's not hired. He didn't sign his contract. They're hiring him. Well, they were hiring him until they weren't.
Interesting.
And then Washington's hiring him. So, but it's interesting because, again, all these cases of all these coaches, like it comes out on Carolina, Dave Canales, we reported, oh, he's getting hired. And right away I got texts, hey, it's not done. It's not done. And then 8 hours later, it was done because it almost always gets done. There's an understanding it's going to get done. But in this particular case, with Cliff Kingsbury, talks collapsed over the length of the contract.
That doesn't make any sense. So did you think it was like buyer's remorse there for the Raiders, why they wouldn't just give another year like most teams do? Do you think, like, why do you think that happened with
I think they just, I'm guessing that they just thought that they could get it done at the length that they wanted. And I think that they probably thought that it wouldn't be an issue, but it was an issue. You never know exactly what's going to be important to somebody during the course of a negotiation and whether something like that could wind up breaking a deal, breaking an agreement. And in this particular case, it obviously was very important to Cliff to get that third year, and it was very important to Las Vegas not to give the third year, and neither side was willing to give, and so he leaves. And they don't get it done when both sides thought it was going to get done.
Okay, so that leads to the Commanders, obviously number 2 overall pick. Caleb Williams was with Cliff Kingsbury last year at USC as Cliff Kingsbury was a senior consultant. Caleb Williams posted on his Instagram story, my dog, congrats. No punctuation.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So my dog, congrats. Okay, through the entire thing. Love everything about it. Both Oklahoma and USC legend Caleb Williams says that. Everybody is just assuming, whenever Cliff interviewed with the Chicago Bears, ooh, that's because they're going to take Caleb. Now Cliff is with the Washington Commanders. Ooh, they're going to make a play to get Caleb. How much of that ties into this entire decision, you think?
Well, I think the Commanders make the decision to go get Cliff on its own. Like, that stands on its own merits. Now, Cliff happens to be tied to Caleb, and now you have to wonder if any calls are going to be made. Here's the issue. There are a few issues with this. Number one, are the Bears going to be willing to move on from taking Caleb Williams, which I believe seems to be the widespread consensus across the league, that Caleb Williams will be the number 1 pick. And if they are willing to move on to him, then you have to like either Drake May or Jaden Daniels enough, or Justin Fields. But again, the feeling around the league continues to be that they'll wind up trading Justin. Whether they do or not, we'll see, but that seems to be the feeling. So if they're going to trade Justin, and if they're going to trade the number 1 pick, the question is, do they like one of those other quarterbacks enough? And we're so early in the process that it's hard to know what is real and isn't real, but I don't know that they do. And that's where the trade, I think, gets a little bit bogged down until Caleb Williams starts trying to see if he can manipulate the situation and make it work to the way he would want, which no NFL team is ever going to allow itself to be pushed around. And is he even going to do something like that? We don't know. We know he's from Washington. We know he loves Cliff. There are some things that tell you that at some point in time. But Caleb Williams, to my knowledge, also isn't working with an agent. So whereas John Elway had Marvin Demoff basically manipulating and planning and scheming and strategizing on the situation, and whereas Eli Manning had Tom Condon working on that situation, Caleb is doing it solo right now. I mean, he might be able to get it done if that's what he wants, but I think in cases like this, you need some powerful help if that's what you decide you want to do. And so I think that will be a telltale sign. If all of a sudden we hear in late March, early April that Caleb Williams is hiring an agent when he didn't have one, oh boy.
Well, I'll say
it
this.
Might be on.
I love players representing themselves, being at the table, especially if they're able to do it. Well, Lamar and his mom are able to accomplish with the Baltimore Ravens against what we thought was potentially going to take place. I'm a guy who does not have an agent. So, I appreciate anybody that's able to do that. But they need to start renaming whenever sources are coming out, because anytime we hear Caleb Williams' camp is saying this, all anybody says is, we don't care about Caleb Williams' camp. What we would like to hear is Caleb Williams speak, because I think Caleb Williams is charming, athletic, everything, obviously electrifying. Anytime you hear the camp, I think it's kind of a little bit of a damper on things, but we hope it works out how everybody wants.
Amen.
And we hope Caleb is able to do what he did in college in the NFL, because that'd be great for the biggest league on earth. Tone Diggs has a question for you about another situation that has a little he said, she said type situation.
Yeah, it does. An interesting situation was reported this weekend about Ben Johnson, and I think it was the Commanders, whether he didn't interview well or he didn't trust that the Commanders front office and new ownership, they were basketball guys and not football guys. Is there you got anything on that for us, Schefter?
Yeah, I think Ben Johnson obviously is one of the top assistant coaches in the league. And the situation in the end didn't work out, I think, the way that a lot of people thought or hoped that it would. And again, Ben Johnson is entitled to do and stay wherever he wants. He's more comfortable in Detroit being the offensive coordinator right now. He just is. You speak to other people that interviewed him as well, not just Washington, which didn't get the chance, but he wasn't entirely comfortable, getting ready to make the transition to become a head coach. Where it becomes an issue, I think, is this. If you know that you're pulling out of that job and you're withdrawing your name from consideration, all good, no issues. There's a time to do it when the Washington ownership group is not in the air on the way to see you in Detroit. Now, people could say they're coming to see Aaron Glenn there too, and that is 100% accurate and true. They were on the way to see Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson. But if you're Ben Johnson, let's just think about this logically, okay? If you know that you don't want that job and you've committed to talking to these people who've spent weeks doing diligence on you and investigating the possibility of hiring you, why would you not just sit down with them when your season's over? Listen to them for 2 hours. Say, well, Mr. Harris, Mr. Rails, very impressive. I want to wish you the best of luck. Good luck with everything. Thank you for coming to Detroit. Yeah. I'm very happy here. I'm going to stay, but I really appreciate you.
You're going to love Aaron Glenn. You're going to love Aaron Glenn. Yeah, all that type of stuff. Yeah.
By the way, and I'll also say this, the Commanders found out in midair at the same time that they were getting a text from an agent. So it wasn't like something that was done in advance or there was any warning. There were media reports. One person on the plane turned to another and said, "Is this true? He's not interviewing with us anymore?"
This guy. Aren't we flying 2 meters?
What the hell?
Josh Harris. They don't do this in the NBA. And then he goes, "Oh, this is the basketball guys."
So now, back to the basket. basketball appeal. What does that mean? Either you're good and effective at your job or you're not. Either you know what you're doing or you don't.
Shefty's plugged.
Okay?
Yeah. Shefty's plugged with the Commanders.
Love
we need to remember that. New ownership. Shefty's plugged with the Commanders. We need to remember that. This is good news for us because you are actually giving their side of this whole thing, which, as you lay it out, completely understandable.
Get it.
So I think they're probably appreciative.
What's the other side? What's the other side? Oh, that. By the way, he was just as uncomfortable taking Seattle as he was Washington. Okay?
Ben Johnson and MCDC had 14 venti coffees together in the morning, and he said, I want to run it back. When? I'm going to text them right now. They're in the air to come meet with you. I don't care. We need to tell them right now I am a lion through and through. And the Commander's probably thinking to themselves, this son of a bitch.
Yeah.
This absolute son of a bitch.
hell?
Now, we assume Ben Johnson will continue to be the belle of the ball. Is he going to get a raise now from Detroit for sticking around, or is he just on the same deal? It feels like that's kind of the play that takes place whenever people are highly sought after, then they end up staying. Like Dan Quinn, I think, last offseason.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's with the Commanders. We've seen the video. They put him on a small plane, could barely get out the door.
Yeah.
NBA guys.
I'm not judging. Private plane. Still a private plane. Still a private plane, Shefty. But tell him, Dan Quinn was popping out of that thing like Ace Ventura, pet detective coming out of that rhino's ass.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Whenever he did that entire thing. But Dan Quinn last year, I think, got a pay increase with the Dallas Cowboys to stay there. Same thing expected for Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, all these guys that potentially were head coaches and now back.
I think Ben Johnson will get a pay raise as of last week. When he went back there, he didn't return with any agreement, assurance, idea in my mind that he would be getting more. He had 2 years left on his contract. I do think that they'll adjust it and give him a raise because, again, we're not, as a coach, he's first rate. No disagreement, no argument about what he has brought to that franchise, what he means to the Lions. He's one of the best, if not the best, offensive coordinator in the league. So,
hell yeah.
I mean, he's been great. So, yeah, Detroit, I'm sure, is going to take care of him. That's not going to be an issue.
D-Butch got a question for you, Chef.
Yeah, we're talking about the Commanders a little bit. Eric Bieniemy has been over there. Over the last few years, there's been a lot of rumblings about him maybe getting a head coaching opportunity. Obviously, that hasn't happened, but I think he's still under contract with the Commanders. I know he interviewed for that head coaching job. Any, word on where he's potentially going to land?
It's been quiet surrounding him this offseason. I don't believe he wound up interviewing for very many head coaching jobs, if any. And here's the thing there with these things is sometimes candidates are hot and sometimes they're not. And when you get a chance, and it was unfortunate, he never got a chance as a head coach when there were many people who felt like he should have. And in this cycle, he just was not one of the hot names out there. Not in this cycle. I don't know what's going to happen to him now.
Yep.
So that'll be interesting.
Okay, Eric Bieniemy, obviously, big convo over the last 5 years. And if he's not hired anywhere, does he go back to a senior consultant role somewhere, get his name back into the mix? We have no idea. The NFL is so fascinating. Steve Belichick coaching in college now. He was, that news was announced this weekend, him going back to Washington. Nobody wanted Steve Belichick. He was planning on coaching with his dad. How do you think that all worked out?
Obviously, I think he would have gone with Bill if Bill had gotten a head coaching job. And when he doesn't, I think everybody's got to make plans. Like, there have been a lot of assistants there in New England, and you just wonder what's going to happen to them now. And so Steve Belichick is opting for the college route, and that makes sense. Jed Fish is somebody that worked in New England at one point in time, is close to the Belichick family. A nice, good, strong landing spot for Steve, and we'll see how that works out there.
A lot of people are saying he was so mad at New England he got as far away from his boss.
Yeah, I can see that
Because
as
the other side of the country. Okay, I'm joking. Do not type that and say that I meant that for real. Schefter did not as well. Last question here for you from Connor.
Yeah, Shefty, Cowboys DC, kind of the last one open almost. Mike Zimmer and Ron Rivera both interviewing. Is it a two-horse race there, and is one of those guys definitely going to be the DC next year?
Yeah, I think it does come down to those two guys. And over the weekend, I had somebody tell me, hey, I think it's going to be Mike Zimmer. And then I had somebody yesterday say, hey, I won't be surprised if it's Ron Rivera. And two guys who know what they're talking about. So I do think it'll be one of them, clearly. And Mike Zimmer is just so familiar with that organization where he's got such history and connections with the Jones family, having worked there, I think, about a dozen years. and obviously he wants to get back into coaching if he can. So we'll see whether they turn to Mike or Ron, two veteran guys, two respected guys, two guys who I think would be nice replacements for Dan Quinn, who's off to Washington.
Hey, we're going to be in Vegas this week starting on Wednesday. You're going to come by and see us? I think you guys have a set outside. Ours is inside. Don't know if you want to come stop by.
I'm happy to stop by. I have no idea. Honestly, in my mind, like I understand how all this works here. I haven't left, like I'm at my daughter's hotel, like ESPN is a hotel. I'm trying to figure out, like it is, it's a mess, Pat. So, I got wife coming out.
Now that you're all discombobulated, you just want to slip out any information that you have in there?
Please.
You know what I mean? Want to slip anything out?
I am totally discombobulated this week. Like, Super Bowl week is busy enough, but then you do it in Vegas with your daughter working, with your family coming out, and it's like, it's a little overwhelming, the whole thing. So, yes, I'm very discombobulated, and I do hope that I can see all of you on Wednesday or Thursday or Friday, whenever it may be. Hey, how was Joe Montana on Friday? Good, right?
So dope, man. Thank you for the connect there. Shefty, big part of that entire thing.
Let's go, Shefty.
Shefty got the number. Yeah, like we were trying to attack him at all angles. We hit up the Niners to hit him up. Shefty hit him up, gave us the number. Joe Montana was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Thank you for helping all year. Thank you for being like so available for us. Legit.
I've enjoyed it. I've had a great time with you guys.
All right. Well, we'll see you out of Vegas. We cannot wait for it. I think we're going to the Sphere a couple times too. If you want to stop by with us, I mean, we're gonna have a great.
Are you going to the Sphere?
Yeah, we got U2, I think, is happening.
Yep,
Oh, yeah.
U2.
And then there's a Planet Earth one I think we're trying to.
Hell yeah.
We'll feed you some edible while your daughter's there. Never
Yeah.
mind. All right.
She can't come.
Ladies and gentlemen, senior NFL insider Adam Schefter.
Hey, Shefty.
Should be fun out there.
Yeah, so
The
fun.
Cliff Kingsbury thing's weird.
Very
Nuts.
weird.
Very.
Just status quo is 3 years. And the Raiders like 2 for
That is
you.
weird.
For
What?
you, two. And Cliff's like, I got other options. I'll just go get 3 somewhere else. Prove it. And then, all right. Now I'm going to the
good. I'm
Commanders.
out.
And then them going from Cliff to Luke Getsy, I feel like that's, those aren't very similar.
What do you mean?
Offensive. I mean, not that he's going to be good or bad. You never really know until they get with the players and the personnel, but I feel like those are very, two very different offensive minds.
It doesn't feel like the right thing to break a deal.
And it felt
Yeah,
like, go ahead. It felt like if it wasn't Cliff, like you were hearing that it was going to be Chip Kelly, Getsy kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, Chip Kelly was trying to get the hell out of college.
Yeah, it
Remember,
feels
that was
like it.
completing the narrative
It feels
of
like it, yeah.
all these coaches are trying to get out of college. Remember, quietly, Chip Kelly's interviewed 2 times with the Raiders and with the Commanders, but quietly, it's been taking place because of recruiting and everything. Then Getsy's name pops out of nowhere. Cliff Kingsbury's supposed to be there. It's like, that feels like a weird hill to die on if you're the Raiders, who you don't even know who your quarterback's going to be going forward.
No, it almost like played out like they thought they had Kingsbury, it didn't work out, and then they just panicked and hired Getsy. They're like, okay, well, he's here. So when, because like the Getsy was kind of the same thing. Like they were talking about him being the main reason that Chicago's offense stunk and that he couldn't fix Justin Fields. Like his name was constantly getting brought up for, hey, they're going to fire him at this point. Like it's been like that for the last 2 years. So for him to bounce right back and get an OC job right away, especially when you don't have an established quarterback, it's crazy.
I just think it's weird because it's like first-time head coach, first-time GM. Like if you're Antonio Pierce, or not first-time GM, excuse me, first year in the building for Telesco, like isn't that just a tough look for Antonio Pierce and them as like a organization?
Was it Telesco or was it I wonder if we'll have Tom Telesco pretty tight with the program.
Yeah.
Tom Telesco is the reason why I got into the NFL. He's literally the one who told Bill Polian to draft me. So me and Tom know each other very, very well. Been on the show a bunch of times. I think there's a chance he stops by this week. We'll definitely have to ask him, what happened with Cliff Kingsbury? And I wonder if they're doing this with all their assistant coaches.
Yeah.
If this is like, hey, I understand the league-wide thing is 3 years, but we're going with 2 now because of the turnover. We talked about the turnover in every situation. Maybe Mark Davis is like, I'm tired of paying these extra years because what was the thing that was said offensive coordinator-wise? Since 2022, every single team had a brand new offense coordinator.
Yep.
So 3-year deals, if you even think about it, these guys aren't even lasting 1 year.
Yeah.
So maybe they're just trying to set a new precedent. Maybe that's something that they're trying to do.
Well, and with Cliff too, at least the thought could be like, hey, this guy was a former head coach. He was in college for a year. He comes back here, has a really good year for us as OC, as we expect him to do. He's probably out of here next year.
But then they don't have to pay him if he gets a head coaching gig. I don't understand it.
Weird.
It is very weird. Joining us now is a man who's not happy.
What?
Not happy.
Why?
Well, I mean,
On that?
Chris Mad Dog Russo said
Yeah.
some rude things about this guy.
Well, if the doggy said it, I believe it.
Well, that's the problem because he is a Hall of
Well,
Famer.
yeah.
Like you said, I probably don't believe it. So
Okay, well, that's how he feels.
Okay.
So this guy needs to hear that, by the way. Coming off maybe his best athletic performance of all time.
Yeah.
While wearing dress pants, tucked in, button down, and a tie.
Clean.
Pundit on ESPN all day, every day. Pro Bowl games analyst. Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Orlovsky. What the hell's Chris Mad Dog Russo burying you for on First Take today? I thought it was very impressive. He said I could do that. I heard him in the middle of the thing saying that he could do what you
Doggy
did.
can't.
I don't like that, Dano. I don't like it at one bit. And if you would like to address the dog here, go ahead and the floor is yours, Dano.
I got nothing to say about that, man. I'll bite my tongue on it. Usually I'm
come on.
This guy sucks. This ain't a guy that puts up the highest score at the quarterback carnival.
Nope.
Just rolling over and dying whenever Chris Mad Dog Russo lifted up his back right leg and pissed all over your weekend.
Come on.
That ain't what we're about here, Dan. I don't like what he did.
I'm gonna bite my tongue on it. He's a Hall of Famer, but the only thing I'll say about it is I thought what he said was classless. So,
Wow.
Hell yeah.
That's powerful.
Go, Dad.
Oh, Dan, I saw you tweet that. Coming out of your mouth, it just sounds a little bit harsher.
Classless.
Classless, this guy. He does do edibles. He does make bets. He's been talking to microphones for a long time.
Hates Thanksgiving.
But he
Hall
did.
of Famer.
Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer.
Hates Thanksgiving because he's going to hang out with his family.
Right.
Doesn't want to do that as well.
Has some phenomenal rants, but let's move past the negativity. Let's talk about the positive. Phenomenal performance here. You're actually the only guy that threw a football that we saw documented that buried this. Is this 45-yard toss? How far is this throw here? Into the
I think it's 50 because it's from the 40. So this is like the story behind it. I think it's 50 because that
Nobody else made that.
bucket. No big deal. So this was Friday. No, this was Wednesday. We were there to do, obviously, I had to tape the closest to the pin, and then at UCF we were doing the NFL Live show that day.
What?
That wasn't live?
What?
That wasn't live.
Wait.
Golly.
The pin.
Go ahead. Thanks for
fake.
taped.
Anyways.
They were doing the dry run, working the logistics of everything for Thursday night, and they were like, "Hey, will you come over and just run through one so everyone gets the moving parts?" And I was like, "Sure." So I threw a couple 15 warm-up throws, and I was like, all right, what do I do? And they're like, when the horn goes, throw. If you hit one, you can't hit it again type of thing, this and that. So I just went, and I did it, obviously, and then I was like, oh, not bad. And then I feel bad, to be honest with you. I feel bad as the days have gone on. Maybe I'm soft, but
don't feel
the internet is
it's the greatest thing you've ever accomplished athletically. What are you talking about?
Relax. He's the all-time leading passer at UConn in all the categories still, so let's relax.
Who's second? Me?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. I guess he's number one.
Yeah.
You can always spin it. I mean, people. Dan Orlovsky can spin it.
Yeah,
for
sure.
It's still
What's up with Boston Connor and Mad Dog today?
Well, Boston Connor's every day. I don't know about how Mad Dog treats you every single day, but that's every day from Con Man.
Say new, Dan.
Yeah, congratulations, though. I don't think you should feel bad at all. The only thing you should feel bad about is that the state of the quarterbacks at the Pro Bowl games couldn't beat you. You know, that's not your fault.
I feel bad about. If I'm being real, dude, I feel bad because, those dudes are all thousands of times better than I am. This isn't me being corny. They are. So, I feel, and I don't want, the last thing I would want is, one of those guys to think, dude, Orlovsky trying to show us up type of thing. That's just, that's not what I was.
Did it before they did it.
Yeah, but Orlovsky, the things you say in the microphones all year.
True.
I'm sure these guys have heard, right? But you put up.
Yeah, but I don't ever come across as, I don't think, disrespectful in that regard.
Yeah, but you're not disrespectful because you were spinning it at the quarterback carnival. You should be proud of yourself.
The big thing is, I showed this to my kids and their punk ass friends, and I said, from now on, when you guys to make comments.
Bingo.
Boom.
And to us, whenever we bury you, you just be like, quarterback
you guys
carnival.
bury me?
No.
Yeah.
If we were to. Hey, let's talk about the Pro Bowl. You were down there. Felt like vibes were high. The guys were trying, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
And, people are always going to judge the things that are happening, and some people call it corny, some people call it terrible, some people call it whatever. This ain't the Pro Bowl. Obviously, it's not, but everybody's trying to keep the Pro Bowl a thing. Everybody's trying to keep it alive. Felt like the vibes, the energy, and the try-hardness of everybody was high. Is that what it felt like on the ground? And what's your big takeaway from the weekend?
Yeah, for sure. And it gradually grew, even from Wednesday, which was a couple of the competitions again closest to the pin, and then Thursday night, the skills challenge. And then going into the game obviously starts. I think the second play of the game, Tyreek goes the distance. No one looks like they're trying. And as you got into the fourth quarter, it got way more intense. I think Pat, I think Peyton and Eli have fully embraced it. And made it. That throw is absolutely. I don't care if he's in shorts and a t-shirt. That throw is absolutely ridiculous. That's
and you beat him.
Wilson throw.
You beat him at the quarterback car.
No big deal.
You could have made that throw.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Peyton and Eli have totally embraced it. And kind of embrace the silliness of it and some of the the corniness of it, but also the true at the core competitiveness of it. Thursday night's awesome. You were there last year. Thursday night is so cool because the guys are so relaxed and you get to see a different, personality or side of them. And you get to watch those guys do things other than just play football, and just be on the football field. The closest to the pin stuff was fun. And you get to see a different side of those guys. They're so much more relaxed. And then the game, I tell people all the time, if you want to bring your kids somewhere to a fun thing that you get to see, a little bit more access, the Pro Bowl game is so much fun just to be around. So, Anger threw an absolute dart there.
Imagine he gets a hole in one right there.
Showing up all
the golfers. Awesome, man. It was awesome. I think they figured it out, to find the happy medium of, what the Pro Bowl is now in 2024 and beyond rather than it was 20, 25 years ago. We're never going to have the Sean Taylor laying out the punter moment again. But I think they figured it out.
I appreciate the effort that everybody gave. Derrick Henry, also a monster at dodgeball.
Unreal,
baby.
I don't think that was on the bingo cards, is that Derrick Henry is going to be the one that's a problem out here.
Absolute headhunter.
Yeah, too big, right? Too big of a target.
Yep.
That's not what you want in dodgeball, but he ended up being one of the guys. There was a couple of drops of balls that I did not expect from guys. And, you talk about Peyton and Eli. Ray was there. DeMarcus was there. Yeah. It's everybody is kind of trying to revive and kind of keep this thing alive. And I thought you did a great job all weekend, Dan.
There you go, Dan.
I thought you did a great job all weekend.
It was cool. I lucked out, at being at Disney World. My family got to come with me too, so my kids got to have an awesome experience. All those guys are great. I tell everybody, and I keep saying it, when you get the chance to go down there, I would tell anybody, if there's anything you want to go see as an NFL fan, bring them to that weekend. You get access to those players in a way that you just will never get in any type of forum other than that.
Okay, and the pop for some of the guys as they came out the tunnel there, and the weather, the football gods bless it, because it was supposed to be terrible, I guess, in Florida weather. You never know what's going to come. Feels like it was a great weekend by all parties. It'll continue to evolve, I think.
Yeah.
We'll continue to keep the stuff that's good, get rid of this shit that's bad, and hopefully everybody continues to be invested. Now, let's talk about stuff that isn't the Pro Bowl. Connor has a question for you.
Yeah, Dan, obviously huge conversation right now is going on with how the Cliff went to the Raiders and then he's going to the Commanders, and because of that Caleb Williams now is possibly going to go to the Commanders because of Cliff Kingsbury. But obviously the Bears have the number one pick. Do you think they should stick with Justin Fields next year and kind of either trade that pick or take a Joe Alt or a Marvin Harrison Jr., or what do you think they're going to do there? And would you take Caleb Williams over Justin Fields?
Yeah, so if I'm Chicago, the more I've gotten away from the season, the more quarterback becomes the right choice at number one, and you trade Justin for as high as you can get. Justin showed a lot. I still go back to that press conference, right at the end of the season when Ryan Poles was like, Justin got better, and I think he can lead the team, but right when he said but, I feel like that was the line of demarcation. And again, as this, the time has gone on since the season, it feels like quarterback at number one is going to be the right choice. I think I lean Caleb right now. I haven't started these guys yet in studying them, and at least in the preference that I would have. But I think Caleb's just natural throwing, ability and then playmaking ability is going to be so unique. So you're trying to trade Justin for as much as you can get. Here's the thing with the whole, Cliff Kingsbury tie and whatnot. Obviously, Cliff's incredibly successful, and we've done this before. I think Mike Sherman with the Dolphins, went from A&M to the Dolphins, and then they drafted Tannehill, and there was some initial success, but maybe not sustained success for that grouping. We also just watched 5-6 years ago, them take Cliff and Kyler and pair them together. And here's the thing that I would say about, the rumors of him and Caleb, or really any quarterback for Washington with Cliff. The thing that you're going to love is the fact that Kyler Murray, his first 2 years was really good. I think he accounted for, I want to say something like 60 touchdowns and like less than 20 picks. So, really good, both throwing and running, and then obviously interceptions. But then there wasn't a ton of growth after that second year. Now, a small part of that was injury, but there wasn't a ton of like that third or fourth year jump in development. So you love the fact that, hey, we could take a young quarterback and we've got a guy that has the track record of getting that young quarterback to play well. They got to figure out why there wasn't that third or fourth year big jump or big development out of that player, when it comes to being the person under Cliff. So Washington, I think there's a bright side, but also a real side to it. And then for Chicago, it does feel like Caleb. But I would say this, I think all three of those top three kids that are getting their names mentioned, Caleb, Drake, and Jaden Daniels, are going to be in the conversation for one.
Can't wait to see who lands where. Obviously, that's going to be 2 months worth of conversation. Let's go to Las Vegas with D-Butch.
Yeah, and obviously it's going to be a big conversation. Who's going to develop them? Luke Getsy ended up being an OC in Vegas, after things fell through with Cliff. What's your thoughts on him, and what should we expect from his offense in comparison to like a Cliff Kingsbury offense?
Yeah, Getsy's from the McShanahan tree. Harbaugh uses that term, and I've stolen it. The McShanahan tree, with the history that he had in Green Bay. I've heard nothing but tremendous stuff about Luke Getsy. I've sat with him, and I was impressed with him. Just my time with him. He was really understood their offense. He had a really good connection with trying to tie formations and run game and pass concepts together. I think the two thoughts I have on a debut of this. Number one, why did that offense look like that last year with Justin? That offense for the first 5 or 6 weeks was schematically a stupid offense. It was. And it was not what was necessary for that player and his skill and his talent. And then it changed. After Justin's, right before the injury and maybe after the injury, it was a totally different offense. So I would want to sit down and be like, why? Why did that offense look in many ways poor early and then much better, but also two different offenses? And then why did you get that young quarterback to play so hesitant? Because no one can tell me that young man did not play scared to make mistakes last year. You're supposed to come out last year guns a-blazing. And they were so tentative at quarterback. So, I think those would be conversations that I would want to figure out if I was the Raiders. And the second thing is you got to go jump if you're Las Vegas. Like, you got a good, talented defense. I think that Antonio Pierce is going to have that group playing incredibly tough. Yep. You got to go get a quarterback. You have no shot in that division. You have no shot if you don't get a guy. I'm talking about a freakazoid, because Justin's going to play awesome. We know they have Patrick. So they would be the one team that I would sit here. It's February 5th. You have to go up in the draft and go get a guy.
Kirk Cousins still going to be available. You never know who would do what. And
not enough.
Russ?
Okay. Well, anyways, we're coming up on a hard out. Incredible job this weekend. You should be proud of your performance. Don't let Chris Mad Dog Russo piss on you on the way out. We appreciate you.
You guys are the best. I'll see you in Vegas.
Heard your sets outside. Enjoy that. Ladies and gentlemen, Dale Orlovsky.
Yeah, Dale.
It's supposed to rain all week.
Not good.
Well, we got space, though, if you boys need it. You're welcome. Hour 2 on the other side with A.J. Hawk. We'll also have Lincoln Riley joining us for about his 4th or 5th conversation. Should be good. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change your life. Take 3. Now is a man who will be compared to forever whenever they're talking about GOAT conversations in the sport of football. That's because he won 7 Super Bowls, was consistently dominant for more than 2 decades at football. Ridiculously handsome. So absurdly handsome. An underdog story, too, picked at 199 of the NFL draft. Not a top 5 pick, not handed anything. And then what did he do? He went to work, did his job, became the greatest of all time, and now a phenomenal businessman and a great representation of the greatest league on earth. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Brady. Hell yeah,
What's
dude.
up, my man?
Tom, I thought this was all potential gimmick rip. I didn't know if you were actually on the show. I'm so pumped you were here. Hey, we love you, dude. We love you, Tom.
I appreciate it.
When you're 40 years old and you've won 6 Super Bowls and you're already being called the GOAT, was there anything to you getting to the point of just being, I'm tired of Bill Belichick talking to me like I'm a 23-year-old? Because that was kind of the lingering at the end of your time at New England.
There was so much people just trying to create some division that most of it was untrue, but it's just the way the world works. And naturally, I think division from within is a big problem in these team environments. And I don't like seeing any dysfunction in team environments. Obviously, my respect for Coach Belichick is pretty well documented. He was an incredible leader and coach for our team. And I tried to do my best every single day that I took the field. I knew that he did the same thing. And I think that's why I respected his coaching so much.
But whenever they talk about the Patriot way, that is normally the reason that is given is like the Patriot way, the Patriot way, the Patriot way.
I've never used that term in my entire life. I think when people say it, I'm always like, what's the Patriot way? It sounds like the title of a book. I think what we tried to do was we tried to do things the right way. I think we tried to practice the right way and prepare the right way. What happened on game day was ultimately a reflection of what we practiced. And I thought we had great leadership from our coaches, and it filtered down to the guys who really drove the culture. We had so many guys that I played with over the course of a lot of years that really understood that, okay, I'm going to care about my teammates and I'm going to care about helping the team win.
There's a guy on our show who is diehard Patriot fan. Boston Connor has a question for you.
Yeah, Tommy, I have to.
What's up, Boston?
I have to start and just say thank you. You know, my whole life has been incredible because of the fact that you have won 6 Super Bowls. And, you know, I'm a loser every day, but I'm a winner as a football fan because of you and what the Patriots were able to do. So thank you. What do you think the new era of New England with Mayo is going to be?
Him coming back into coaching, I think is great for the NFL and certainly great for the Patriots. He's got a great understanding of how things need to be done. I think Gerard does an incredible job relating to everybody in the locker room, all the coaches, and I think he'll do a great job.
Going into the booth, are you utilizing the same thing, hearing what people are saying about you going in there? And how do you balance that while still being a human?
The broadcast going to be 5 years from now is going to be hopefully more improved than the one that starts on day one. So I'm going to go in there with the opportunity to start and learn, and I'm sure by the end of the year I'll feel more comfortable. I really want to be a great ambassador for the NFL and the game. I love the sport. I love the athletes. I love the organizations, and I really appreciate.
The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey,
What?
let's go.
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for. The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers.
You pig! Damn it!
Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life.
Sport!
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to our humble abode, the Thunderdome, on this Super Bowl kickoff Monday, February 5th, 2024. Hour 2 of the program starts now.
Football
is a beautiful thing, and this weekend we will crown this season's champion, and we cannot wait to get out to Las Vegas for Radio Row. That'll start on Wednesday. This hour is absolutely packed. Obviously, we have a man from an attic joining us in a few minutes. We have a coach from USC joining us in a matter of moments, and we have PK Subban joining us in about 39 minutes to chit-chat about the weekend that was for the NHL with their All-Star weekend up in Toronto. The 6 was a-buzzing as the boys were flying around. The Talks Tib was here at Boston Connor and at Ty Schmidt. Sick wolf shirt.
Hey, thank you very much. I didn't make a big deal out of it. I just wore it. I didn't say anything, okay? I just back to the status quo, all right?
Last week, you peacocking with that one shirt.
On a Friday with Joe Montana on? Yeah, I'm going to peacock with a great shirt. Sorry, sue me.
It looks like the mullet's really coming together, too. The length is all the way back.
Well, I would not go that far because I know exactly where the length was, and I'm still about 2, 3, 4 weeks away from that. But it is getting there, and it is still in a healthy state, you could say. Thank you.
No problem. Ty, getting out to Vegas, obviously going to be a good time for the boys.
Oh, yeah.
I think the people that have reached out to us that are going to be at Radio Row, the names are absurd that we're hearing and learning of. Feels like this Super Bowl week is going to live up to the hype of the past weeks.
Yeah, I think it might be the best one ever.
Whoa!
I mean,
Ty,
I
ticker.
It seems like every single year when we get back from the Super Bowl, we're saying, how are we going to outdo that? We're not. That was the best Super Bowl ever. I mean, just a couple years ago, we have Wiz Khalifa on stage doing a concert.
Which they have banned.
They have banned that. So we
have changed rules at Radio Row in a short time that we have been there.
So we're not going to be able to do something like that again. But
even though we tried to get Jaquan in there.
Yeah, we did.
We tried our best. We tried our best.
Not just the guests. Like
free Killer Mike.
Yeah, free Killer Mike.
Free Killer Mike.
And free Lisa Ann.
Free Lisa Ann.
Please.
People get arrested all over the place.
It's not right. It's not okay, especially on the week of the Super Bowl. I don't love it. But part of it, too, is,
Free Lisa, please.
I'm not talking about Lisa or Killer Mike, even though that Killer Mike's seeing something. Patrick Mahomes Sr. arrested on Saturday night as well. A lot of people get arrested here. Darius Rucker got arrested last week.
What?
Had a little weed on him. So sue him.
Hootie?
Yeah, they're saying putting Hootie in jail. I mean, it's been a wild week whenever it comes to law enforcement.
It has been. Everyone's excited for the Super Bowl. It's really as simple as that.
Keep our heads on a swivel.
Patrick Sr., the guy's son's in the Super Bowl, okay? He could maybe go down as the greatest quarterback of all time if he wins this weekend. So if he wants to have 60 or 70 pops and then get behind the wheel and do it safely to the best of his ability, let's find a way to get him home, okay? I'm not advocating to drive boozed up. Okay, I'm just saying.
Yeah, even Connor's separating himself from the words. Uber, Lyft. I mean, there's so many things right now. Somebody get him a driver. This is third time. Can we have somebody with Patrick Mahomes Sr.?
Get the guy home.
Just get the guy to his house. We need to see him in the suite. We need to see him at the game. It's his third time. Obviously, the first two, he's done jail time for this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's get the guy just a sober driver.
Yeah.
And let's get him home.
Where's Taylor?
It's really as simple. Well,
she was at the Grahams.
That's not her job. Okay, that's not her job. But also, one thing I'm very excited about the Super Bowl as well is usually when we go out there, if we're not doing our obligations for the show at Radio Row, we end up just kind of going back to the house and just dicking around for like the entire time. Like we have events every single day of the week, which we don't usually do. And I'm not talking, the grab ass parties out there and all that. We're doing some really sweet shit that is going to be awesome. I'm very excited for
Let's go Golden Knights.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Wait to see
Big tilt.
Cannot wait to see.
One half of the hammer. Cowboys 10 Diggs is here. Saw you getting uncomfortable as I was as Ty Schmidt was going down the road that he was going down with Patrick Mahomes Sr. All we're saying is let's get this guy a driver.
Exactly. Not advocating for him to drive drunk. Just get him home safe.
We would like to do an NIL deal with Patrick Mahomes Sr.
Right.
Of a year-round human that is just chilling next to him, driving him home.
How about Jackson drives him? He's not doing anything.
That's not a bad idea.
Not a bad. There we go.
Yeah.
Good idea.
There's a good answer.
First applicant.
Not a bad. I don't necessarily want to pay Jackson Mahomes anything. So if it's,
we were paying?
Well, I just offered that.
Okay. Well, boom.
Well, I was thinking Pat has made enough money that he could pay him, but
I would assume
Patrick.
Patrick. I would assume that that's a hard conversation to have with your father. I would assume it's not. So outside parties, us stepping in is probably making things a lot easier. Just need that guy to get home and be safe.
Yes.
Hey, your kid's in the middle of a dynasty, Senior. Okay, let's make sure we're smart and safe about it, especially in 2024 with everything that is available currently in the world. People don't need to be drunk driving anymore.
No.
Okay, it's been like that for a while. Now, back in the day, it was very normal.
That was going to happen.
Okay, for people doing that. Not smart, not safe. Now, can't have it happening, especially to a guy who needs to experience what his son is currently doing and saying, let's get his ass home.
Get him home.
Let's get Patrick Mahomes Sr.
But Ty was right. I think it's going to be the greatest Super Bowl week we've ever had, especially if we get the right group of guys together. We bring another guy in. I feel like it could be a cool mixture of guys on stage doing some talking and stuff.
What's he talking about?
I know what he's doing. He's talking the way one of our favorite guests has talked in the past before, with a lot of hand motions and a lot of
that's a
9-year NFL vet. Darius J. Butler is here. D-Butch, excited for another Super Bowl week.
Absolutely.
Obviously, you look incredibly cool today.
Hey, so do you. And speaking of looking cool, Super Bowl, talking about the Chiefs. When you walk into your barbershop, or actually when your barber walks into your office, like what do you say to your barber?
Well,
hey, give me the Caucasian
cool
fade.
ass-
That's what I say.
Caucasian fade.
Yeah, I say, give me what all the white people have been doing for the entire time.
Oh, okay.
The fade.
Just
also known as.
How'd that happen? There's another story. How does that happen in the world that we're in today? Some Alberta, Canada, right? Where was it, Gumpy?
That was New Brunswick, my friend.
New Brunswick Canadian barber said, all anybody's asking me for is this Travis Kelce fade. And then the New York Times are like, yeah, it is the Travis Kelce fade, isn't it? Like the kings and queens of grandstanding, the New York Times is like, everybody wants this Travis Kelce haircut. As a white who has had a fade for my entire life, there's other white fades that have happened in the past. Tim Tebow, Justin Timberlake has had a good fade.
Oh, yeah.
Now, there's some things written in a book about him, I guess.
Apologize.
Travis Kelce is a white who has had a good fade for a long time. But all of us very much understand that the Cox were not the ones that created said fade. We actually did a little research on the fade. 40s or 50s, military, I believe.
40s, 50s, military, black guys in there, faded up. Happy Black History Month, by the way. So,
New York Times.
New York
by
Times.
the way. But, yeah, so New York Times, I guess they're doing their journalism thing. But just interested to know what you say when you're getting that.
Well, Travis Kelce is not excited about that either.
No.
Travis Kelce, like, you son of a bitch. People already hate me enough.
Yeah.
Now you're going to ask. You know what I mean?
I invented the fade.
Yeah, this is not the right thing.
Come on.
Joining us from Manatee, Ohio is another man who has a fade.
Mm-hmm.
Many say he potentially created this particular fade.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's the hawk cut. High, real tight.
Mm-hmm.
Dan, let's go ahead and let that thing flow.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, college football national champion, Super Bowl champion, AJ Hawk. AJ, New York Times have been writing about the way you get your hair cut. Hope you're happy about that and pumped for this Super Bowl week.
Well, it's. I'm very glad that they are letting people know that there is a thing called a fade now. I've been getting skin tight fade since I was like 6 years old back in the day. But it's true though; it is very tough to find legit barbers that can do a legit fade. Though a lot of people will mess it up.
Oh, boy, you ain't lying.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Yeah, you ain't lying. You are
Hard
not
to keep
lying.
on.
It's not easy to find a good barber, but once you find one, you got to hang on forever. With that being said, Travis has seemingly found his barber.
Yeah.
What's his name? Patty Cuts?
Patty Cuts.
Yep.
Patty in the cuts.
Patty Cuts.
Patty Cut.
He said people are loving this. Taylor loves the cut. We're all over the place. Patty Cuts, though, never was on record as saying, I created this, which is
But
really good news.
probably should come out and say, hey, by the way, TM, I'm the only guy that can cut fades going forward. Come to KC if you want one.
This world's so dumb. We're happy to be a part of it. Joining us now is a man who has a good fade.
Yeah.
This guy's
Another one. Yeah.
Great fade. Also a phenomenal football coach. Obviously, everybody knows him from his time at Oklahoma and at USC. Living legend. He's been on a media run today, obviously for good reason. Whenever you find, develop, and create the hottest name in the NFL draft, people are going to want answers. Ladies and gentlemen, head coach of the USC Trojans, Lincoln Riley.
What's up, fellas?
Hey, I see you don't have the Travis Kelce fade, I guess, but you do have good haircut, coach. Good haircut over there.
We got some good barbers in LA. They take good care of us.
Yeah, as they should. Let's talk about your time in LA. It's been filled with a man named Caleb Williams, who is described by everybody as one of the most electrifying college football players of all time. Now he's making the jump to college ball. I just learned from Schefter he does not have an agent. How much are you involved in this entire transition process for Caleb? And what has your messaging kind of been as he makes his jump to the NFL?
Yeah, we're trying to give him some support. We've been lucky enough, like you said, to have a couple of guys go through this. This is different though. Certainly in that, the process has obviously evolved through the years, the attention around it. For Caleb, I think it's all happened really fast. I mean, you get out here, you win the Heisman. In the last 4 years, he's only played 2.5 years of football. He's still very young, kind of in his climb, but he's excited about it and he's got a great mindset. And I think the thing I've always appreciated about him is like he's always thinking about the next step, and it's always the big picture. At Oklahoma, there was a time in the beginning where we weren't going to take him, and he said, "Well, fine, coach, I'll just walk on." Like that's his mindset. Like it's always about that next step, and so he's ready for this. He's excited for it, and we're hoping he ends up in a great situation.
Go ahead, AJ.
Coach, how do you think his game transitions to the NFL? He seems to be what you're looking for when you talk about quarterbacks, especially now the NFL, where a lot more run-pass situations where you can use your athletic ability. How do you think that translates to the next level?
I think it translates well because he's athletically, typically one of the best athletes on the field, but then his ability to create, his ability to throw from all different angles, all different platforms is really, really special. He's continuing to become a better situational quarterback, and the more reps he gets, the better that he's going to be. But he's going to have some advantages physically when he steps on the field with anyone, and that's a great start, and then it'll just be a climb from there.
You've been able to coach a lot of successful quarterbacks who have made the jump, both athletic quarterbacks, pocket passers, and everything. He'll be able to continue to play the way he plays at the NFL, you think?
I think his game will have to adapt because people, and we saw this some even this year, like people are going to try to defend him differently, and you guys know, like, everybody's going to try to get the book on what works against you, and they're going to continue to try different things. And so as a quarterback, you've got to learn to find different ways to win, different ways to move the football and be productive. And so he'll have to adapt because there'll be some people that'll want to keep him in the pocket, that'll want to, make him win the game from that perspective. He physically certainly can do it, and that'll just be part of his climb. And again, I think that's why it's so important. A guy like this has got to get in the right situation where he's developed, he's got the right people around him, so that he can continue to climb as a player.
Okay, let's talk about the situation around him with the right people. Cliff Kingsbury just got hired by the Commanders to be the offensive coordinator. Obviously, he was with you guys last year. Caleb said, "My dog, congrats." They're a potential suitor for Caleb Williams. How many of these teams have reached out to you to talk about Caleb? I assume all of them. And what is the messaging or the questions that they're asking?
Yeah, we've talked to quite a few already. I think, people see the talent on the field. I think they're wanting to know about the guy, in the meeting room. They're wanting to know about the guy in the locker room, the type of leader he is, the type of person that he is. And I think just trying to get a great feel. If you're going to take somebody as one of the first picks in the NFL draft, typically your questions on the field are pretty much answered. It's they're trying to learn, like, really what makes this person tick. What can we really expect here if this guy's going to become potentially the face of our franchise? And so, that process has been cool. We're excited how it plays out. It would be awesome to see him reunite with Cliff, certainly in Washington, but we know there's a lot of things out of control and a lot of things that'll transpire between now and then.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that have been transpiring in draft season, as you know, as a guy who's had a lot of successful quarterbacks and players before. So much bullshit gets out there. Speaking of the bullshit, Connor has a question for you.
Yeah, Coach. Basically, I want to say since like December, this has been going on with Caleb Williams, where there'll be reports about something that his camp says or something that his father has said about maybe not wanting to go to a Chicago or forcing his way, elsewhere and things of that nature. Is that something that you have dealt with, or is this just complete and utter bullshit of teams that maybe are a little, higher in the draft and want to kind of bash his name, which we know is going to happen throughout these next 2 months leading up to the draft? I mean, we just saw it with C.J. Stroud, and then we saw how that turned out for him in Houston. But is that just complete BS? And is the narrative around Caleb kind of been skewed to the point where people aren't really sure exactly who he is? And do you think that's on purpose as well?
Yeah, I think it's a total smokescreen. I mean, I think it's people playing the game. Like knowing Caleb, like location-wise, I don't think he cares one bit about where he's at. Like all of these franchises are in really good cities. Like really, there's advantages to anywhere that you could go. He wants to win. He wants to be a guy that's playing in this game that's getting ready to come up this week. And I think for him, it's less about location and it's just more about getting in the right situation where he knows he can continue to develop and do the things that he needs to do to help a franchise be successful. And that's it. And he's got a one-track mind that way. So, no, I don't think there's any truth to that at all. The guy wants to win. He's a competitor. Certainly, I know he would love to go first overall. I mean, as any competitor, who wouldn't? But at the end of the day, it's about winning for him and nothing else.
Has Caleb's camp, that's how it's being described as, just showed up at your office every single day throughout the season and told you you're doing things wrong? Is that how it's going?
Yeah, they've got a little corner office over here right now.
Yeah. That's how it's being portrayed, though, Coach. That's literally how it's kind of being portrayed. It's like Caleb's camp says this, Caleb's camp says this. And I'm always like, I'm sick of hearing about what Caleb's camp. I want to hear Caleb. Caleb doesn't talk much? Is that an accurate depiction of the situation there?
Yeah, he's just very low key about it all, and so yeah, it's honestly the group of people he's got around him are really good. They were really low maintenance in all the years that we worked with them, whether it was recruiting them in the beginning or working with them the last 3 years. Really low maintenance group, and Caleb wants it that way because again, he's about one thing. He's about ball. and he's about winning, and they try to keep the main thing. So, listen, he's just in a position like he's a lightning rod right now. If he doesn't talk, it's a big story. If he talks, it's a big story. Like there's going to be attention no matter what. But at the end of the day, this kid's about the right things. He's going to make an NFL team very happy.
Man, I hope a lot of people are listening to you, and we got to remember this through the entire draft process as the smokescreen bullshit comes in abundance, I would assume. And to Connor's point earlier, normally it's teams that are like sitting at 3 or 4 that are the ones putting this out there so that they hope that he falls. It's like, it's a fascinating world whenever you're one of the top prospects, which obviously Caleb is. Speaking of top prospects, D-Bud has a question for you.
Low maintenance Caleb Williams might be breaking.
Yeah, that is. Put on the ticker.
For
Put it on the ticker.
As well. And I know, Coach, you probably don't love talking about yourself, but obviously you Coach Baker, Kyler, these guys went number 1, won Heisman Trophy. Even Jalen Hurts, when he came over to your offense, you saw him develop a bunch in your offense as a passer. What is it about your offense or your coaching style that really brings the best out of these quarterbacks?
Well, listen, I mean, first, guys like that aren't real tough to coach. I mean, we've been lucky to have several phenomenal guys. So it starts and ends there. We've got a great staff. We got guys that have been together for a long time. We love coaching, we love developing it. And I think, as we've had some guys that were successful, it's helped attract, more great prospects to come want to be a part of this and to grow themselves. And so it's been a great ride with those guys, man. It's been surreal to see those guys go have success. I was able to go to the Bucks and Eagles playoff game there a few weeks ago, and to see 2 of your guys out there duking it out in the NFL playoffs was a really cool moment. So yeah, I think like anything, man, we've got a lot of good people that surround them, and we've got a good system that allows these guys to succeed, and they've got a lot of confidence when they come in the door that they are going to improve, and that's what's happened.
Coach, are we fixing the defense or what? Coach, I mean, that's been the MO, hasn't it? I mean, I just got baptized into the college football world. Boom. Last 2 years. And obviously, you've seen the experiment. Not everybody loves me out there. A lot of people hate me. But, like, the only story about your teams are, like, well, on the defensive side, though. On the defensive side, though. On the defensive side, though. Do you think that's fair that they say that about your teams? And how do we think we go about fixing that?
Yeah, I do think it's fair. I mean, at the end of the day, the 2 schools that I've been a head coach at, I mean, you're defined by championships. And I love coaching at places like that. And the reality is there's not going to be much in between when you're at those schools. The championships are the expectations, and you've got to play great on all sides, but certainly you got to play elite level defense to get it done. And so we haven't done that in the first 2 years here. I don't hide from that. But also don't hide from the fact of the defensive staff that we just brought in here, I think is second to none anywhere. And we started with a bunch of names on the board that we thought were some of the best coaches and best developers in football. And for some of these guys to leave some of the situations that they did to come coach for us here at USC, I think speaks a lot to the trajectory that they see this program on and what it can become. So I think this staff is phenomenal, and I can't wait to get started with this group.
Hell yeah, Coach! Because I'm a believer. I like when USC, and I guess I'm just going back to the Pete Carroll era, but I like when USC is glitz. It's LA. Like this is when USC is good, everything's great. And obviously, you guys have brought a lot to the college football world over the last couple of years, especially Caleb Williams in the offense. But it's like, let's go, let's go. Especially with the future of what college football is. Go ahead, AJ.
Coach, you mentioned earlier, a guy like Caleb Williams, any quarterback really needs to be in the right system at the next level. How important is that relationship with the offensive play caller and the quarterback? I know I say it a lot. I think the offensive play caller has so much influence on that game and obviously on that quarterback's career. Like how big of a relationship do you think, or like how important is that to those guys to get along and have like a truly collaborative situation?
Well, I think it's critical, because I think the most important thing playing quarterback, in my opinion, is confidence. It's a confidence-driven position, and there's no way that you can play that position with that much confidence if you don't have that relationship and that trust with the person that's designing it or calling it, because the success is so often tied together, and you have to be in sync, and that's critical. And so having that time together, having that time where you build up the trust, where what each other's thinking, you can really stay in sync. I mean, I think that's everything, and that'll be critical for Caleb at the next level. And most of the guys that have been great quarterbacks in any era, you could see them tied to somebody. I mean, like, look what Patrick has done with Coach Reed, right? Like, I mean, I promise you, he trusts that guy more than you can imagine, and that makes a big difference, and that's a lot of why he plays the position the way he does.
Well, and also Andy trusts him, so it's it goes both ways whenever you're that close. Speaking of things that are kind of like close, right now, college football seemingly close to the edge of disaster, allegedly, if you listen to some of the narratives that are cooking. Ty has a question for you.
Yeah, Coach, we've seen a lot of people say that, hey, if they don't get guardrails on the NIL situation right now, we're going to see more things like in like this recent hiring cycle. Boston College's head coach Jeff Hafley takes a job with the Packers as a defensive coordinator, and he basically says, hey, anymore it's just recruiting your own guys and fundraising. I really don't get to coach ball anymore. In your time at USC, obviously, Pat mentioned it, the glitz and the glamour of being in LA. You guys have used the transfer portal. You've brought in people. Is it one of those things where with NIL, you kind of just have to embrace it and work it to your benefit? Otherwise, you will be like one of those guys who kind of gets left out in the lurch. And so how have you kind of addressed that and looked into that? I'm sure it's much more difficult at USC than it is a lot of places. And how have you kind of seen that evolve just over the last several years of being a head coach at a major program?
Yeah, the problem is right now is we're stuck in between an amateur and a professional model, and anytime you're stuck in between two different things, it's going to cause problems. It's going to cause issues, and that's what's happened. Now the game's still phenomenal, right? The product on Saturdays is as good as it's ever been, and I do believe in college football. I do believe that it's going to get fixed. We do have some problems right now that make it very difficult for coaches, players, administrators, everyone. And we've caused a lot of these problems. But I do believe there's a solution there, and the game is way too good to let something like this mess it up. And so, yeah, it's my hope that we'll get it fixed. It needs to get fixed because there's no successful business, whether you're talking about the NFL or any other business out there that has nothing to do with sports, like you can't run this way and sustain it, and we got to fix it.
Yeah. How? Because there's different states, like California's laws, vastly different than Ohio's laws, which are vastly different than Texas's laws. We're talking sports here. We're not talking about everything else that's happening in the world as well. But it's like you got different state laws that are taking place, and then the NCAA seemingly, and we won't put you in a bad spot, I'll say it so you don't, are picking and choosing on when to potentially attack. It's like, how do you fix it? We need a college football czar? That's what everybody's saying. Like, need a commissioner? How in your eyes, I'm not saying you need to give us the answer now. It is fixable, and how do you think you've envisioned that before or now?
It is. And I mean, I feel like at some point it's going to start to mirror, and we'll see how closely it gets, but it's going to start to mirror some of these professional leagues. I think at some point, right? Those leagues do it with different states, and they've navigated it well, and they do. They have one commissioner, and that person makes the decisions for everybody else. And at the end of the day, that's everybody plays under the same set of rules with the same circumstances. And I think that's all anybody's looking for. So it's going to take some time. It's not going to happen overnight. But again, we have way too good of a product to let it get tarnished by this.
Especially with how it's all growing, seemingly. We can't lose the tradition, can't lose the pageantry, can't lose the game. But boy, we need to make sure we sustain it and grow it without bullshit getting involved. Speaking of, there is a new day coming upon us. Go ahead, Tone.
Yeah, Coach, we're going to the 12-team playoff now for the first year. And I was wondering, have you talked about or thought about, or have coaches talked about coaching differently now that it's a 12-team playoff versus a 4-team playoff? Like with you guys going to the Big Ten, there's probably going to be 3 or 4 teams that get in from the Big Ten. There's going to be 2 lost teams. There's going to be 3 lost teams that get in, and there's going to be more games at the end of the year. Have you thought about? Are you guys going to have to adjust coaching, like when you're up 21, you don't have to be up 30 to look good for the voters or anything like that. Getting guys out sooner. Maybe less practice days during the week or less hitting during the week because you're going to have those extra 2 or 3 games at the end of the year. Have you guys talked or thought about that at all?
Yeah, we have. I think it's interesting from a scheduling standpoint, just because, like you said, with this previous model, you could afford to lose, 1 game at the most, and then after that, you lose any more than that, you virtually have very, very little shot of getting in the playoff. Where now that's changed. I think the other thing that'll be interesting that I haven't really heard anybody talk about is, if you get to the end of the year and you're undefeated, at some point, do you maybe look at resting your guys, knowing that you're already guaranteed a playoff spot? And I know there's a bye and all that, but like that's something in college football that nobody's ever, like you've never even heard of that. But that actually like could happen now, which is interesting because you could potentially play 3 more games. And so it's a good thing though, man. Listen, you should not, like what happened to Florida State this year, that should never happen anywhere ever. And so that I'm really glad that piece is going to be fixed.
Agreed with the Florida State thing. The whole, boy, you rest these 18 to 23-year-olds for a game.
Man.
I can already hear it. You know, maybe more so at Oklahoma than it is at USC. Maybe a little different viewpoints in LA versus in Oklahoma. But you're telling me 20-year-olds need to... Oh, geez.
Not my football.
How soft is this world? I mean, I can already see the people getting pissed off about it, but if you win games, you earn the right to make that decision. I'm excited to see the new trail be blazed by everybody. Speaking of new trail being blazed, go ahead, AJ.
Coach, so you guys are coming to the Big Ten. I wonder what kind of challenges does that present? Does it change anything that you do throughout the week? Logistically, obviously, travel may be a little different. And what's your outlook going into the Big Ten? Are you guys excited, I would imagine?
Hard-nosed football, Lincoln.
Yeah.
Hard-nosed football.
Cold.
You know, I hear everybody saying like, well, it's so weird that like USC's in the Big Ten, but like flip that too. Like think of the Rose Bowl every year and how awesome the Rose Bowl has been. Pac-12, all the iconic Pac-12 Big Ten matchups where you're going to have these now like week in and week out. And some of the like new rivalries going and playing in these different venues for all the teams. Like I think it's going to be awesome. I'm really excited about going into the league. It's a tremendous league that's only been made better by these additions. I think we've made a few adjustments and now we've constructed the roster, but a lot of that has just been, look, we took over for a struggling program that we're trying to climb back into national prominence, and a lot of that just involves growing the roster, to get it to that level anyway. So I think some of this we'd have been doing regardless. But yeah, we're excited about it, man. I mean, the schedule we're getting ready to play, the different rivalries that are getting ready to come up from this, I think are going to be really special.
How about the 9 a.m. local kickoffs? Like that's bullshit. That's going to happen to you guys, I think, personally, just as a guy who's not a morning person. I am not a morning person at all. That is not how I operate. My wife wakes up, new day, here we go. I'm so pumped for her. For me, I need to live a little bit of life before I come to light. I'm powered by the moon more so than the sun. Is that something you have to address with the team? Like, do you have to find guys and like let them know, hey, we're going to be eating breakfast before a game, 6 a.m. local time. Sometimes before a game that could depend whether or not we make it into the college football playoff or not. That's absurd to think about, but I guess it's just the new world. How do you address that type of shit?
Yeah, it is. And for us, so I think it helps because it flips that you're not going to have the late kickoff window, which we had a lot in the Pac-12 and, where you're kicking off at 10:30 Eastern time. Oh, okay. And that's the ones that we really wanted to avoid those. And the Big Ten's, the Big Ten's TV windows were much better. And I don't think we'll have too many of the 9 a.m. kicks when we're out here. We may have a few when we go east, and that's okay because then you actually get home at a decent time as well. So, yeah, I think at the end of the day, trading that was way better for us. It's better from an exposure standpoint. And listen, it's our job. We got to have these dudes ready to roll at any point. So we got to be powered by the sun and the moon, baby.
I appreciate that. Somebody's got to have a good playlist. Somebody's got to have a good playlist in there.
Right. That's right.
You open with LSU. Good luck through it all. Congrats on obviously another top pick in the draft. It seems like that can only help recruiting wise. And we appreciate your time today, pal.
Definitely. Appreciate you guys.
Hey, we'll see you soon. Ladies and gentlemen, head coach of USC Trojans, Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, Lincoln.
Hey, Big Ten ball.
Mm-hmm. Look out.
Yeah. Good luck.
Ty.
Good luck, baby.
He's got to play Kirk's Dogs.
That's right.
9 a.m. local time.
Exactly.
Hey, D-Bud, he talked about, like, we got to have these guys ready, be powered by the sun and the moon. It's like, it's a lot easier to say.
Yeah.
Especially like November, December, chilly. Let's say there's a little snow on the ground, and you're waking up in your world, in your clock, 5:30, 6 a.m. to do breakfast. It's like, I understand, like, figure it out. But there's some guys that's not going to behoove them. I don't think at all.
It's tough. You mentioned it, 18 to 22-year-old. I don't know how you were, but I know at that age, it didn't really matter. You know, whenever you had to get up, whenever you had to roll, whether it was spring workouts or training camp or whatever it was, once you get older and you get into certain routines, hey, we got 1 o'clock kickoffs, we got this, that, and the third. I got to see my massage therapist at this time. You got your family. But when you're a kid, especially when you're chasing that dream, you know, I'm sure the type of guys that they're recruiting, like, they shouldn't be worried about that at that age, at that point. Get your ass up, play, show up, be ready to roll.
Do you think, I mean, like, once you get into the NFL, it's a little bit different, and, like, the cold weather stuff, like, obviously you talk about all the time, like, hey, Florida boys, like, don't want to go play, but, like, that's a real thing, right, for these guys? Like,
I'm saying an eighth of the stadium filled. Okay.
Yeah, you're playing in Illinois in December.
9 a.m. local time.
And it's
that's going to be
15-degree wind chill. And you know, too, like the way they play, like, hey, these guys are going to run it down our throat 50 times, okay? And, like, it's like that. I really do feel, I mean, it's easy to just say, like, hey, they're not accustomed to that. They're not going to be ready for that. But same deal for 18 to 22 years. Like, I feel like that is a big deal.
Yeah, figure it out, I guess, is the way you say it. And, like, fans don't want to hear that. But I'm just thinking as a human who might have to be, I would never be in that position ever. I'm never playing in a position where I have to meet somebody in the A gap at 9:15 a.m. my clock time in front of no humans pretty much in the stands. It's like that's quite a culture shift quickly, but hey, you get to. You don't have to. Right, AJ?
Yeah. And I think also if you're able to do that, it like hardens your team. Your team can win many different ways, many different situations. Hey, little sleep, 9 a.m. kick, it's cold. We're not used to this. It's kind of like the whole iron sharpens iron situation.
Well, if you're going to win the national championship, you're going to have to be mentally tough enough to win those types of. So those are indicators, I guess, on whether or not your team has
guys, hey, think of those players. Those players would much rather travel to go play in a cold early game than to live in those elements and have to live for 6 months in those cold elements and I got to get them to go to practice when it's snowing and it's, the wind's gusting 60. Like, they don't want to have to deal with that every single day.
We played Kansas City before they had Patrick Mahomes, so that just describes it there. Yep. And it was negative whatever. Halftime Bruce Arians' speech was, it's cold as shit. Let's win and get out of here. Okay? And then, all right, we're out. Like, the amount of times Lincoln Riley is going to say, it's miserable.
Handle business, yeah.
We got 2 quarters. We got to win, and let's get the hell home. Like, the amount of times I assume Lincoln is going to have to rephrase that and utilize that, it's going to be real. But this USC team, you would assume with Lincoln Riley, always going to be good. We didn't even talk about quarterback. Who's next? Is it that kid that played in the
Miller Moss?
He went for 6 touchdowns or something.
Yeah, balled out
in the bowl game. And obviously, you can't say anybody's a starter. Because if you say somebody's a starter, you might lose a recruit. You might lose somebody else. It's an interesting time. It's a delicate time in college football, and there's a lot of change. But just like Lincoln Riley said, the product is going to remain great. We all assume, right?
Yes.
Yep.
For sure.
On the field, yeah.
All right, let's go.
Players are only getting better. Yeah, players are continuing to get better. It's just different now.
Well, and Ohio State's paying everybody.
Exactly.
It's bullshit.
Ohio State's just paying everybody, isn't it?
Yeah.
Feels like everybody's paying everybody.
Well, not as much as you guys.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people spending more than Ohio State.
No. Not what I heard.
Show the receipts.
How about this weekend?
What did you hear?
This weekend, not even about paying people. You guys $13 million this year, allegedly, in the NIL portal, more than anybody else. You guys are
should be
stacked.
40. Should have 40 a year. If you
Well, why don't you give them a little bit more money? Maybe that'll happen if you do that. I heard this weekend there was rumblings. Bill O'Brien leaving Ohio State.
No way.
That was a couple tweets. People were like, Bill O'Brien actually going back to the NFL. Saw what college was. Said, I don't want to do this.
Wow.
Said he's getting out of there.
Be awesome.
How many days was he on campus before that happened?
I don't even know if he's made it there yet.
He might not even be there.
Yeah, it's the turnover at college is going to have to get figured out, though. That is something that they're going to have to figure out, because this is just from a very selfish standpoint as somebody that's very lucky to be on College Game Day. We're going to be talking about dudes who are game changers who are on like their 4th team.
Yeah.
And it's like,
how do you keep track of where everybody is?
And if I get a name wrong, I'm the worst human on earth. But it's like, I think that's more indicative of the state of college football than maybe me. And then, like, guys playing 9 years.
Yep.
It's like, what do we?
They got to fix that first.
They got to figure a lot of shit out.
Get your ass, you couldn't figure out the first 5, 6. Get your ass in the workforce. Figure it out.
Get your ass in the workforce. Go play in the UFL.
Yeah.
All right. You need to do something else. But also, congrats on the opportunity for furthering your education and playing organized ball.
No.
What are you talking about?
Let these young 17 and 18-year-olds get a chance, man.
What are you talking about? You're saying that they're too old to be competing against 17 and 18-year-olds for scholarships?
They're taking scholarships away. Look, Lincoln and all these coaches, they got to go on the road. It's like, what is going to be, Neil and other people? What, you can sign 4 high school kids now at this point?
Well,
where the rest of them going?
It's been happening to the punters for about 10 years now. And nobody seemed to
You
care.
didn't speak up then.
Nobody seemed to care then.
Here you are now.
Nope.
You're right, D-Butt just said. Let's talk about some other news stories happening around the football world. Harbaugh chit-chatted about Lamar Jackson in his year-end press conference and the offense that they have. Loved hearing what he had to say and the metaphor he talked about, because we chatted about this all year. This is the first year Lamar's been in this offensive system, and we saw them grow and grow. What should we expect next year, Coach?
In my opinion, there's nobody better in this league, especially nobody better for the Baltimore Ravens and for this organization, for this city, and just from a historical perspective. I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about taking this offense to the next level next year. An opportunity to pick up where we are and dig deeper with what we can give him. You say Lamar has the keys to the offense, okay? Now you build the offense, it's like setting up a car. We got to build a car. We got to set the car up. If Lamar's a driver, he's got to be involved in the setup of the car even more. Last year that wasn't even possible, right? This year he's going to be involved, and we've talked about, he's already involved about what we talked about yesterday in setting up that car. Now he comes in on the front end and he's talking to the guys about how the car's set up and exactly how these things need to be run. This year, every day was a new day in the offense, right on through to the last part of the season. Next year, it won't be a new day every single day, and that's pretty easy to figure out and it makes sense, right? But it's real, and I'm looking forward to that next part of that.
Baltimore Ravens are only getting better, AJ. I think that's what I heard from Harbaugh. He's obviously optimistic. They just paid Lamar a bunch of money, so there's never going to be anything negative said about Lamar, especially with the year that he just had, winning another MVP. We all assume we'll learn at the NFL Honors Show. But whenever you hear that, I like to hear that. Harbaugh has always been very open about his support for Lamar and obviously his support for this offense and where they can get to, AJ.
I thought the analogy was great, like the whole racing situation where if you listen to any, I know you guys are big, IndyCar mainly, and then NASCAR obviously as well.
F1,
yes.
Pinnacle.
Nobody.
No.
Formula One, yep.
F1, right? Yeah.
Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Not the Pinnacle.
Nobody's. Everyone's out on
Pinnacle
F1.
Motorsport.
NASCAR's the
They're
Pinnacle.
not on yet, AJ, at some point.
Never.
At some point.
Oh, okay. They'll be on board. But don't you think it's great? D-But you could explain this too, I'm sure. Like, I know when you're in the same scheme for multiple years in a row, you come back to OTAs and they start installing again, and you just start picking up more and more, and you learn what you're like. I don't know. You almost get like an expert level of what everybody around you is doing as well. And I'm sure when you're seeing it for the first time, like you said with Lamar, where like the more times you see it, the more times you run through it in practice, and you get game reps at it. It's unbelievable, like the value you could put on that, how comfortable you could feel, and how confident you could be as a quarterback.
Yeah, it's night and day. We saw it with their defense with Mike McDonald, like what year one and what year two look like when you come back and you're not starting from square one again. You're starting from like a 200 or a 300 level. With Lamar, you had a rookie with Zay Flowers, who was his best receiver. You saw Likely come along even more towards the end of the year. Obviously, Andrews was banged up down the stretch. Bateman was in there more consistently this year. Odell was on a one-year deal. So we'll see how, obviously, we think Zay will be the number one guy going forward, Andrews as well. And Lamar be the first one to tell you he didn't play his best ball when it mattered the most, so he'll come back as hungry as possible. But I loved everything Harbaugh said about him. Obviously, his support, him being the right quarterback for that team, for that city, and I think he will continue to get better.
Doesn't even matter because the powers that be are just going to let them average 25 rushes a game all season long and then make them rush it six times in the playoffs.
That's a good point. It's a great point.
You saw the video, yeah. There's a video on the internet saying the NFL forced Baltimore not to run the ball.
Yep.
In the playoffs.
Okay.
And they told Spags about it too.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
So Spags knew it was coming.
Yeah.
So he
Man,
knew.
there's some people could get in some trouble for this, I would imagine.
No, this is just how it's been.
Yeah, that's the way it goes.
Part of it.
Yeah, that's how it is, right? Yeah. That's sad that, like, not sad, but people 100% believe you, don't they? They believe
me. No, I'm not saying
that whole situation. It's really, people are colluding like that. I'm like, you can't get one person to be quiet, so don't act like you get all these people to work together.
So much faith in humans, these people. These people who think the worst in everybody, seemingly, right? Everybody's out to get, everybody's working.
Yeah.
In the same exact vein, showing so much faith in humans to keep a secret, to execute these things for the amount. It is absurd, but they did get Taylor Swift to the Super Bowl.
They did.
And they won 2 Grammys.
Schefter was in it too. I saw a video of him on the internet.
Well, as soon as he said,
saw the mouse.
Yeah, we did.
Why'd he even think about doing that?
He didn't think.
He didn't. That's his problem.
Double down.
Which once again leads us to, you guys have too much faith in people.
Yep.
I think if you were to meet a lot of these humans, you'd actually be like, wow, there's some dumbasses. Instead of the complete opposite, like, oh, they're so smart that they must be doing this. But, hey, whatever keeps you interested.
Yeah.
Whatever makes you happy, do what you got to do. But, yeah, there was a lot of decisions that were made, certainly against the Kansas City Chiefs by the Baltimore Ravens, that confused us all. And we can't wait to see Lamar, get over that hump that everybody's expecting him to and hoping for him to, because it only gets louder and louder for one of the greatest football players we've ever seen. Let's pivot away from the NFL. Let's go to the NHL. They had their All-Star game this weekend. Did you see that, AJ?
Oh, yeah, I got to see all the cool they do all kind of challenges and stuff. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, it is. I think the way they do their skills contest and challenge. Now, who's the Kova? Who didn't try? Who made a mockery out of the whole?
Kucherov. He was having a good time out there.
Kucherov, I mean, what a mockery this guy made of hockey and of the All-Star. This was a timed event. You're trying to be quick. He's just taking his sweet-ass time. And
let Bieber do it.
Well, Biebs was there, and he and Austin Matthews had
scumbag move.
What was that right there?
Well, Kucherov made a joke out of it. Yeah, and Biebs was not, though. His team, alongside Austin Matthews, would actually go on to win on Saturday. Congrats to the Biebs. And he's Canadian. He's got clap bombs out there. And Connor McJesus put on quite a show at the Skills Challenge.
Yeah.
Joining us now was the show, the man on the microphone. We need him on the microphone more. Ladies and gentlemen, ESPN NHL analyst, guy who played in the league for
14.
Ladies, PK Subban.
Yeah, PK!
PK, looks like you got those glasses straight out the drip oven there, pal. You look amazing, obviously. Fresh out of All-Star weekend. Think it was a smashing success for the NHL. That's how I view it. Is that how you see it as well?
It was, first of all, not only a success for the NHL and for the Toronto Maple Leafs, but the city of Toronto. It was unbelievable. The city had a buzz. Being someone who's from Toronto, born and raised, grew up there, the buzz in the city is like no other. The only time that I can compare a buzz in Toronto would have been when the Raptors won the championship. That's the only time I've ever seen the city with that much of a buzz. It was truly a huge step for the NHL, putting themselves amongst the other leagues, sports leagues out there in terms of what we could do with events. I think we took a giant step forward.
Weeksy was standing in front of Sidney Crosby in the opening piece. I think that was the only misstep potentially by anybody in that. Connor McJesus, though, seemingly put that thing on his back and really wanted to put on a show. Is that how you saw it as well?
He was remarkable. All the players were remarkable. I know we talk about Nikita Kucherov, but he was awesome in the game as well. All the players were great, but Connor McDavid, I mean, if there was any doubt in anybody's mind that this guy is the most talented, skilled, and best player probably to ever play the game, he put all of that criticism to rest this weekend. He not only was he the best player at the skills, but it wasn't even close. Like, this guy dominated in any facet, and he wanted to show that. Being a guy from the GTA, not only the world's greatest hockey player, but being in his hometown, that's what you get. And he showed up, represented the NHL exactly the way he was supposed to. He was phenomenal.
Go ahead, AJ.
PK, is there any events you think that they're missing out on that they're not doing, possibly that you would like to see in some of these skills challenge or something? Maybe a little physicality between the boys or something? Like, what would you like to see?
Fight.
Well, I mean, first of all, if you're not going to bump a little bit with $1 million on the line, either A, in an event or in the game, that's on you. I would definitely throw an elbow for sure in the corner, 100%. I'd bump somebody off the puck. But I'll tell you, with the event, the feeling for me down by the ice and in the locker room was that this was the best skills event, top to bottom, that the NHL's ever put on. I don't think, A, I've never been a part of something as balanced as this one, but B, people were just engaged the whole time. The players were engaged. Players wanted to talk about the events. We were breaking them down, talking about exactly why we do this event and why this skill is important. Like, it just touched on every possible skill that you need to be an elite hockey player. And any player will tell you, none of those events were easy. The one that Connor McDavid dominated at, you saw, there were guys that took a while to get the passes into the net. Connor makes everything look easy, but this was by far the best skills event. It would be interesting to ask the players and get more feedback on, like, hey, guys, if you were weighing in, what would you change? But nobody had any criticism for it. I thought it was perfectly done by the NHL. Honestly, the All-Star games have always been tough, this was an easy one for us.
The NFL had a good Pro Bowl weekend, seemingly. The NHL had a great All-Star weekend. This is good news. Also good news, I saw Sidney Crosby, did some media, was there. This hasn't been something he's been accustomed to doing. Feels like everybody's buying in, PK.
You know, one of the coolest things for me being down on the ice during All-Star, and I'm sure for the fans watching, because I had fans that, wanted to know what was going on the ice, was Sidney Crosby and Connor Bedard being together pretty much the whole time during the skills. It was just so cool to watch. And, I know people will talk about this and say this and that about how much I admire Sidney Crosby, but it's the little things that he does, taking the time. Connor Bedard will never, even though he never competed in an event, I'm sure he'll never forget that. Sitting with Sidney Crosby, taking him under his wing, Crosby talking to him the whole time, making him feel comfortable. And just that's what Sid does. He's just a natural leader. So for him to be there, even though he didn't, he wasn't competing in everything and he wasn't at the forefront of it, he just has such a presence in so many different ways. And that's why he's one of the greatest players to ever play the game.
Who's that Canadian Frank? What was that thing's name? Frank what? Frankie, the guy that talks shit on Sidney?
Oh, Saravelli.
Yeah, that guy. Tell him to shove
What did he
it.
say?
PK, tell him he needs to just go ahead and keep his trap shut when he's talking about Sidney Crosby, okay?
Listen. I only listen to your show.
Okay.
I don't really listen to everything else going on, to be honest with you.
Well, he just basically talked about how Sid was rubbing it in everybody's face, how he wasn't there for the draft, and he was skating in Montana. He went to a wolf conservatory out there, and he missed it.
Hey, hold on. As far as I'm concerned, Sidney Crosby can do whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah, agreed, Frank.
Like everybody, no. And whether it's Frank Saravelli, whoever, I don't want to hear it.
Me neither.
Crosby, you could argue, like everybody says Michael Jordan, you can argue that there was nobody ever better at a job than Michael Jordan. Like you could almost make the same argument for Sidney Crosby. He has been literally perfect his whole career. Let him do what he wants to do. If that's what he needs to do, go let him do it. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, he wanted to see a couple Wolves, okay? Sue him, Frank. All right, the guy's been playing for 40 years in the NHL. Speaking of Franks, Frank Moraldo has a question for you, PK.
PK, in years past, NHL's received a lot of criticism for not showing off the guys enough, not, giving them the full picture in terms of what it is as a hockey player and the lifestyle they lead. They did the skills competition years past. Everyone still likes it, but it kind of lost its luster, even though they let the players dress up for the breakaways and do some other things. This year, they did away with all that. They went to Connor McDavid. They said, hey, can you help us redesign this thing? Then he goes out and wins $1 million. You said everybody loved it. Do you still think it's a good idea with the way they're doing it, instead of promoting the guys and the flashy personalities and everything, and just showing the skill, showing these guys why they're great with the actual hockey skill?
Well, I'll tell you, no matter as great as Connor McDavid was, and as great as Austin Matthews was, and McKinnon, the best performance of the weekend was Tate McRae. I think everybody would agree with that.
Yep.
Justin Bieber being there, Will Arnett. You guys can laugh and giggle. I'm being honest. Everybody was on that stage watching that performance. And what I mean by this, there's a point to what I'm saying. It's great. The hockey fans are always going to want to see the best skill and the talent on the ice. But we also want to bring new fans into the game, and there's an entertainment factor to that. And having Tate McRae perform, having Will Arnett there, Justin Bieber, this was the best event all in. Bublé, all in.
Hey, he was tripping balls. PK, did you see Bublé when he was tripping balls?
Allegedly, great word to use. Allegedly he was. I can't confirm that. I can't confirm it. I can't deny it. So I'll let him speak on that. But allegedly he was in one. Yes.
PK, you're the man. Okay. Thank you for joining us. You crushed it this weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. Love you guys. Rangers game tonight. I'll be there. Big game tonight. But I can't wait to come back on. Let's do it soon.
You got it. Ladies and gentlemen, PK Subban. Yeah, here's Michael Bublé from the All-Star game basically saying, I'm on mushrooms right now, tripping balls.
The answer is no. I will not be the oldest draft pick the Vancouver Canucks have ever taken at 48 years old. I know you and you. You're a really good hockey. You got good hands, dude. You've got silky mitts, my brother.
You are the first person who's ever told me that.
Because I'm the first real ever hockey fan, dude. My buddy told me this is just a microdose of mushrooms, and he was lying. So I'll be honest, I thought I was in Blades of Glory for most of the time that I was out there until it sort of settled down, and then I realized, holy I am at the NHL All-Star game. We literally are the heart and soul of these teams. And if they win, it'll be because of us. And if they lose, it will be because of us. All of my text, it was people, congratulations on being chosen to go to the All-Star game. And I was like, congratulations, I'm a superstar. Thanks, guys, thank you.
Legend.
Legend.
Hey, Bublé, thank you, buddy.
I was listening to Bublé all weekend because of that.
I wasn't the biggest Bublé fan. I know around Christmas he shows up with the silky voice.
Of course.
He's obviously awesome, and everybody enjoys him. I watched that press conference. Bublé, you got a fan in me, pal.
Amen.
Yes.
If you have one fan, it's me.
Then his publicist had to try to make him walk it back.
I eat bread, he said. I don't do mushroom. All right. Hey, Boobs, we love you, bub.
Love you, Boobs.
Love you, Boobs.
Appreciate you, Boobs, for representing the All-Star game. Had a phenomenal weekend. The Pro Bowl was awesome. We're in the Super Bowl week. We can't thank you enough for allowing us to do this for a living. We'll be back here again tomorrow, and then Wednesday we'll be live from Las Vegas at Radio Row. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change their life. We'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye. Nailed it. Right on.
Let's go.
Right
Yes.
How about PK Subban's glasses? They're pretty cool.
Were they upside down?
No, they weren't.
No.
No, they weren't. I'm pissed I do not have those things.
Yeah, they're
Big time.
They're really.
You need to find out what they are and where they are, where you can get them.
I'm already on it. I'm already on it.
PK was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the man.
Not as cool as Bublé.
No,
Not as
no.
cool as Boobs.
He ain't
Bublé's
touching Boobs.
48. Looks amazing. 48 years old. I wouldn't have guessed that.
Tripping on shrooms at 48. I love it. That's 12 years for me from now.
That's when it
My
starts.
buddy said this is a microdose.
He was lying. I thought I was in Blades of Glory.
If they win, it'll
That
be
was
because of us.
If they lose, it'll be because of us.
Because of us.
I thought you said because of them.
Yeah, me too.
I love that guy. Man, I did not know that I was a big Bublé fan.
I was.
That
Did not know.
when that press conference hit my timeline, I watched that probably 30 times just to make sure, and then I sent it into the group. I'm like, is this real or fake here? Is this real or fake? And our hockey aficionado, Nick, was like, that's very real. And then all of a sudden we saw the backtrack happening after that thing hit the entire world. A Bublé saying, I was just joking up there. Eyes.
Yeah.
Not everyone's happy about it, Pat.
It's hard to dislike that.
What do you
guy.
mean?
Gump was
People upset?
not happy about Bublé.
What?
Press-
Is that not the most relatable
Hated
thing I've ever seen?
Oh, yeah, old stooge hockey guy
Bublé's very
now?
relatable for sure.
Gump doesn't
Okay,
like him.
Goop.
What's that about?
What's your problem?
I'm just not a fan of Bublé. I'm sorry.
Why not? What's wrong with Gump?
Pre-conference or post-press conference?
Probably both. I like his music. I don't like him as a person.
Why? Why, Gump?
It's a me problem. Like I said, most of these things are me problems. That's a me problem. Maybe that too.
Gumpy wasn't happy about the backtrack after.
No, if you're gonna do something like that, just stand on it.
I would assume he was forced into saying that he did not do it.
Or maybe he was forced into saying the first part.
He
Who
just
knows?
had the most electrifying press conference in the history of the NHL.
That's maybe the most attention the NHL All-Star game has gotten in 30 years.
Nah, you guys are forgetting Iafrate 105 miles per hour.
Exactly, 30 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Al who?
Iafrate
Goodness.
fucking hitting rockets, dude.
WWE superstar?
Jeez.
I just want to let everybody know that that is Gumpy's opinion.
Yep.
It is not everybody else's. And I was indifferent about Bublé. I actually had zero opinion on him. When he'd show up in Christmas and rah, rah, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Damn, this guy can
Yeah,
sing.
love his music. Love his
got the
music.
pipes.
Great
How
music.
about as a person, though, Gump?
Well, Gumpy, it sounds like he is.
Usually the other way around, like, oh, he seems like a good guy. The music's not for me. It's usually that way. Gump flipped that way.
I have to like the human to like the music.
Oh.
I think I'm one of the only people
Yeah,
that's
you
like
are.
that.
Christmas time. Christmas time, though. I love Christmas. I love Christmas.
I think you are rare in that.
That I have to like the person.
I'm with you, though, because I've switched on people before where I used to like them, and then all of a sudden I don't really love them as a person anymore, and then I view their music differently.
Yeah, it's hard. So you guys can like not like a human.
Oh, yeah.
And then be like, damn, this is a banger.
Separate artist from art.
I can't do it the other way. If I don't know the human, like the music, learn of human, don't like human, can't listen to the music. But if I don't like human, song comes out, still a good song, I will still listen to the song if song is good.
I'm not sure what you said just made sense.
So if I am aware of the person,
I'm not sure
if I am aware of said person. It'll be much easier if I just use artists.
Okay.
Okay. These are arbitrary artists.
These are just random.
Who you got?
Yep. Okay, if Jack
Yep.
Harlow comes out with a song, right, and I don't know Jack Harlow, and I listen to the song and I like it, and then
my nail tech knows hockey, blow secret.
Boom, banger.
Right.
And then said singer, Jack Harlow in this situation, does something that I do not appreciate or like. That song is now taken off the board.
Okay.
Can't do it.
All right.
Now, if I know I don't like someone going into a song, and I like the song that said person, let's say Justin Bieber. Let's say Bieber releases a song, and I know of Bieber. Let's say I don't like him. I'm not saying that I don't in this situation. I don't like Bieber. But Bieber releases a song, me already not liking him, but because the song is good, I'll still listen to the song.
Okay.
Because I already don't like him.
But you can't.
So
find
you felt
out.
betrayed by Jack Harlow in this situation.
In this situation, yes, Jack Harlow did something. And again, this is not
is
not
just for
how
the
I feel.
situation.
This is just
What
for
could
the
he
situation.
do though? What could he do to make you dislike him?
Ruin Thanksgiving.
Bingo. Remake White Men Can't Jump. There's one, and that's not my. That's not my.
This is just arbitrary.
This is just random. This is
it's
just
arbitrary.
This is just random. And using Jack Harlow as an example, that would be something that would make me not like said singer anymore.
So I would like to say, if I like the person, I will certainly make excuses for them, as you have heard me.
Okay,
sure.
As you've heard me do. Jack Harlow, for instance, one of the people that I found myself doing that for over the last year or so, because I do like his music. So, but if it did get to a point where I didn't like him, I would just immediately eliminate.
Delete.
Yeah. I'm like, all right, we had a good run.
See,
but that has not happened. I'm still all in.
Yeah.
Beebs also performed for the first time in 2 years at the NHL All-Star. Still got it.
Yeah. Since his face shut down.
Did he perform with Tate McRae or
No. He was solo.
Tate McRae, country musician?
no?
I believe she.
She.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just learned that one.
Yes, not related to the great Basil McRae.
I thought she was. She's not.
She's Canadian. She's a hockey fan. She is the it girl in the streets right now in the music
She's
industry.
from Calgary.
No, I watched last night. SZA is.
No,
Yeah.
you watched this morning. Who is the real shit?
Oh, SZA.
SZA's everywhere.
Yeah.
I just
got
learned of
some-
her
you got
last
some
night.
hits?
She's everywhere.
Really?
Everywhere.
Yeah, but
Bangers.
you heard the one this morning. Excuse me, not the shit.
I don't remember what you're referring to.
The singer that we watched perform on a Spotify stage.
Oh my God, yeah.
in a zebra
I will be
onesie.
making a reference to that tonight
Yes.
on Monday Night Raw. You think you're shit? You're not even a fart, dude. That's a song. That's a song right now.
Who? From who?
Ice Spice,
The incomparable
bitch.
Ice
Oh, it's Ice Spice.
You learned something.
I know about
Ohio.
Ice Spice.
All right, let's get to it. I've known the name Ice Spice.
Brother's
This was my
a great
first
football
time.
player.
Yeah, I
Brother?
guess
Yeah, brother's quarterback.
college.
Four-star
High school.
recruit.
Yeah.
No, no.
High
Coming out, going into college.
Yeah, when
Okay.
when teams score on his team,
They do.
the Ice Spice dance, which is just leaning forward and shaking your ass.
Okay. Now that makes sense because I've actually seen one of those videos.
Yes, yeah,
Didn't
bingo.
understand. Like, what? Okay.
Now you get it.
Now
Now you get it.
Boom. Got
It's
it.
2024 too.
Yeah.
Whole new way of celebrating. We watched the Grammys.
Some.
Watch,
I watched a good chunk. I mean, Miley killed it. Miley killed it as always.
So I don't know if I was awake or if I didn't see the Miley one. I did see a clip this morning of her in the middle of the song pleading with the audience while still singing. That's talent.
Yeah.
That's real talent.
She is talented.
Her hair looked awesome.
She was great. Yeah,
What was that about? What was the hair about?
I don't know. The
It
hair
was
was
like a Tina
cool.
Turner thing, right? Wasn't it a Tina Turner tribute, kind of?
I think so.
Yeah, big hair, big vibes.
Yeah, she's
Miley
great.
can sing.
Tracy Chapman,
Yes.
Luke Combs.
That was sweet. That was sweet.
So I missed that live.
That's where I started.
Okay, I must have
Right after.
joined right after
Yeah,
that.
I think you did.
Because I put a post out that was like, every year the Grammys come along and remind me that I only pay attention seemingly to football and wrestling because I don't know who any of these fucking people are.
Yep.
I don't have a clue who any of them are. So much talent. Okay, obviously everybody's talented and everything. Pulling for Taylor because she's a football girl, so let's go ahead and
course.
win them all. But then I got a bunch of people telling me, you didn't see Tracy Chapman and Luke Combs? I'm like, no. And then I looked it up on the internet. Whoa, that was awesome.
So
Unreal.
good.
10 out of 10.
Luke Combs' hair, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did look
Great.
clean.
Hey, you look good.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him without a cap and possibly ever.
Tracy Chapman, first time I think performing at the
15
Grammys.
years.
Wow. Yeah.
Hell yeah. So there's some beautiful moments that take place.
Where was Duck Hodge?
He was there.
He He was. He's behind the scenes.
Yeah.
He's in duck blind.
Yeah,
He don't want to steal the spotlight.
Exactly.
Boom. Got it.
Last thing you want is breaking Doug Hodges' girlfriend wins a Grammy. You know.
Now we did wonder in the group if Duck had been potentially.
Yeah, I thought it might have been over.
And we were worried for our friend Duck.
Love is love.
We thought it was potentially Hodge over, I believe.
That's right.
But that's not the case. Doc was just letting the spotlight go somewhere else.
Exactly.
Which is why, once again, football guys are reminding the world
Bingo.
that chivalry is not dead.
Boom.
Romance is alive.
You're welcome, soccer.
What's that?
I don't know. I was just picking a sport, and I didn't want to pick NHL or NBA.
No, you were right.
Soccer had some news.
No, football guys are putting their things in jam.
They were fucking pissed
I didn't
off
hear
in
about that.
China.
What's that?
They were pissed off in China because the Inter Miami went over and played friendly.
Messi didn't play in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
So they all got really upset
They
about
want
it.
Messi and Beckham.
This does happen on all these tours, like when English teams come and play in the States.
China?
Not all the players play.
That was not the news.
You were talking about the World Cup
this morning.
Yeah.
You were at the news about news in 8 years?
Yeah.
That one?
It's
Is that when that is?
trading teams.
2026.
2026.
No, not the Real Madrid one.
Oh.
The World Cup is coming to the U.S.
This one.
Oh.
Pompliano fucking posting about these NFL stadiums.
Oh, yeah, Joe Pomp. Yeah.
Did you guys see this?
Oh, yeah.
Seems like soccer was pretty alive this weekend. I must have missed all of it. Anyways, MetLife hosting the finals. And then automatically the ACL jokes started rolling out.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
You see, they're not calling it MetLife, by the way. That's New Jersey Stadium.
How
FIFA,
powerful is FIFA for real that they can do that?
Yeah. The FIFA partners are not, they only call them the sponsors on the stadiums if they are FIFA partners. And none of the stadiums are FIFA partners. So it's just Miami Stadium, Indianapolis Stadium, Kansas City Stadium, New Jersey Stadium.
Dallas Stadium has a bunch.
Dallas Stadium, yep.
FIFA has a lot of power. I don't know if you've seen the documentary. They'll use it too.
Oh, yeah.
Won't they, Gunk?
Oh, yeah, they will.
Man.
They will.
They'll do one of these right over top of your head.
Yep.
Till you bend the knee.
That's right,
I wonder how pissed off Jerry is, though, because it did get announced that the final was in Dallas. Like, this was a late switch.
And it's outside.
When is this happening?
Summer 2026.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right around the corner.
This feels like whenever we talk to the Ryder Cup coach.
Yeah.
Yep. Jim Furyk.
Pomp wasn't happy. Pomp's been angry lately.
Really? You need to check on Pomp?
Yeah, he was angry about Romo. Remember?
Pomp? Yeah,
and then he was angry that it was in at MetLife.
He's pumped out.
Let's get to a break. We have video of a guy hitting the puck 105 miles an hour.
Oh, that fake guy? That
Iafrate. Show some respect. Boom! Look at this guy's hair, dude. Look at the back.
I mean,
yes.
didn't Chara hit it like 112?
105?
Tried to warn you, Connor.
I got a new haircut coming in tomorrow.
And yes, the 6'9" Zdeno Chara did hit it pretty hard, but this is 1993 with a wooden stick, Tony.
Feels like that might be wrong.
Boom!
I saw that puck the whole time.
That doesn't look 102.
That's Friday rocket.
All right, yeah, not fake. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
All
That
right.
backswing was.
Don't you dare. We grew up with this. This is gospel. Don't you dare.
I understand what you're saying, but I mean that puck wasn't blurry at all. You know, like that was pretty easy. I saw the laces the whole way on that thing. 105, huh?
Good on your eyes.
Maybe the cameras were better.
Al Iafrate's hitting at 105. I've seen Joe Sakic hit at 155.
No, Sakic had a weak
Stoner.
shot.
Are you kidding me?
What are we talking about?
Sakic had a weak shot.
No, he did not.
Yeah, he did.
Not like Iafrate.
All right, let's get to a break. I agree. Al Frady, this guy fucking stick, dude. Clap Bomb City.
I guess.
That thing looked no faster than 72 miles an hour.
Come on.
No faster.
Was it 100?
This is like old buddy scoring 100 points.
102 kilometers
I don't know.
an
That's
hour?
pretty quick. Pretty quick.
105 miles an hour there? What are they measuring? Right off the stick?
We need to compare it to Chara because he was 112.
There's no way
back up a
that's
little
105. I'm sorry.
No
There's
chance.
No
It's a heavy
way.
clapper. It's
There's
105.
no way,
You guys just
dude.
like
I
to
don't-
hate.
No, I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
real.
Pull up the
It feels
chart.
like you guys are being drained right
got
now,
video.
actually.
No.
Yeah,
Vampire.
trying to drain life.
Vampires.
Trying to drain the life
Surprised
out
that
of
ice
it.
is even still there. You guys are draining all the water out of it.
Nah, we're just putting over the modern day boys a little bit more.
If you pull up Chara 112, you just see the net twitch. You don't see, you're not watching the puck spin
Yeah,
as
he
it
wasn't
gets
using
there.
a wooden stick.
What are they
dude.
made
I
of
don't
now?
care about
Graphite.
the fucking stick
That's
argument.
part of it.
Just pull up how fast he shot.
Carbon fiber.
with a wooden stick, it's certainly impressive what he did. Zito just screamed 108
absolutely.
miles an hour is what Chara did. If we can get the video, I think we'll all be able to see.
Yeah. Let's hope he's got a sweet
Was Shea
stall
Weber
when he-
more than Chara or was Chara the most?
That did not look like 105.
Shea
What-
Weber hit 105, I'm pretty sure.
What happened this year? Who won this year?
Nate McKinnon was, or I'm sorry, Cale Makar, the defenseman for Colorado, was 102.
He get slower than that?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow.
Dog.
With carbon
Here we go. Look at this big
Weber's
stone
a
bitch.
dog.
See, they used to have the teams.
This guy's 7'10" on skates. Chara.
Getting his ass beat by Team
Joe
Alfredson.
Flacco?
For now, till they win this set. God, yeah. See, where'd it go? Where'd it go?
Seems like the production.
Exactly. Boom.
Couldn't see it.
Do they have a replay?
Why the
He already
hell
knows.
did they choose to do it that way?
Let's keep it running. There has to be a replay from a different angle where we can see the fucking
Might
puck.
as well be 200. You can't see the puck. It's 200 miles an hour compared to Al Iafrate.
That couldn't have gone better.
There has to be a replay.
Just no, there isn't. They couldn't catch it on camera. It went too fucking fast.
They have to have a front angle of that thing. Have to.
No, you can't see. I told you, the net just twitches.
If anything,
And
these
everyone's
guys
like,
are cooking the books for Big
Stick
Z.
taps.
Everyone just, jeez.
I don't know. Everybody in there noticed it. I didn't see the reaction for Al.
Even Danny's like, all right, fuck it. This is over.
Holy shit, boys.
108, eh?
We get fucking replay? No.
Is that Timmy Thomas? Stop them.
Is that the only fucking angle we got of the fastest shot in the history of this thing?
Here it comes.
Here it comes. Here it goes.
And they had to do it in extra slow mo, just for reference.
Is that slow motion?
Yeah, there we go. We
Why
got
are
it
they
here.
doing it? Gone.
Nailed it.
Gone.
Nailed it.
Gone. Gone.
Why are they doing it in
Great
slow
angle.
motion? It's the fastest.
Because they can't see it if you don't slow it down.
What?
Sid, look at Sid. Or is that Gino?
Have the net in the shot.
This sucks. Who is this?
CBC, baby. Hockey Night in Canada.
Fuck.
Thanks a lot, Canada.
All right, I'll agree that Iafrate.
What?
Thank you.
How?
We have no comparison.
We saw Alfredes in a better angle, and we could follow the whole entire thing, and we couldn't even see it coming off the stick on that one in slow motion.
It does feel like 100 points.
It does.
There's footage.
Of what?
He's
Somebody
not-
going,
He's
105.
not
Hey, we
holding
got
up a
footage.
paper that says
Boom.
105.
You see that whole thing. You see that whole
I'm
fucking
with you,
puck.
Gump.
You can barely
you,
see
T-Bucks.
Chara's coming off the stick.
That's a rocket.
There's no way.
I mean, that's
much better
68
angle.
miles an hour.
Nah, I think
Bro, that's BP
I
right
think
there.
Yeah,
that's
it is.
I've heard a lot of things. This disrespect to Al Iafrate crossed the line.
Go. I mean,
All right, you know what? You
I
sold
mean-
me. I didn't know Al Iafrate's a guy that
There's
would.
only one thing hockey fans agree on, and that's Al Iafrate had the hardest shot ever up until Big Z and Shea Weber broke it.
Well, I don't want to be the guy that brings it all down, but you get eyes on that 105. Sure doesn't look like 105, but what do we know? Nothing. We'll keep it. Call PK back. Call PK back, please. Let's stop the music. PK needs to tell us the truth.
I think he's clocked 100 too before.
Yeah.
Let's see what that looks like. If they have a fucking angle for us to see this entire thing.
What did
happened?
Buble do to Gump?
the angle.
Who knows, dude?
He
Gump-
lied.
Exactly. Thank you, Connor. Well said.
That's what Gump screamed when we asked why he didn't like that press conference. That is what he yelled. He lied! Just
What
like
he lied
that.
about?
Publicly. He was in public, too, when he said it, which is interesting. PK answer? PK! Hey.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear us? You got 4 chains on. You look awesome. Just want to let you know. I didn't see that last time. Hey, PK, we're going to show a video right now, and you need to tell me the truth. Tell the truth. Okay?
All right, I'll tell you.
Show
No
that,
problem.
please. That's not 105 miles an hour. There's no way that's 105 miles an hour. There's no way. Is that real?
That's real. It is real.
Damn right.
Thank you, PK.
You got to look at the height, too. It's the height. Height matters, right? You look at Chara, Shea Weber, all the big guys. It doesn't look like they're shooting it hard, but they come down on it. It's cool, right? You see the height? Look at that.
Such a win.
Oh, yeah. No, that's a heavy.
Nobody did it like Al Iafrate, did they, PK?
PK.
No, Al Iafrate's a boss. Yeah. And I used to wing it. That guy can wing it. He can wing it.
105 miles an hour? What was yours? What was your top end?
I think the highest one I've ever clocked. I mean, professionally, I think they've clocked me at like 101 or 102. But I think I probably cracked 103 before. Maybe not 105.
So you watch that as a competitor, that guy with that mullet there, and you go, yep, that's fast. We could see that puck the entire time from stick to net. There isn't even like a blur.
Hey, let me tell you something about hockey, okay? All these guys with mullets, don't let that mullet fool you. Those guys are tough guys, right? The mullet's a little greasy, but it works for some of these dudes. Look at Patty Kane.
Listen, I get it. He's got sick mitts, and the dangles are
Patty.
phenomenal.
Exactly. And mullet Patty Kane's pretty nasty. If you look at his, I think he's got a pretty decent record when he's got the mullet. So it works for him.
I believe we have yours up here right now. We're going through this because
Iafrate.
Look at this kid. How old are you here, PK?
What a stud. I would have been probably 24, 25.
The fucking angle in which they decide to shoot this.
What'd that get clocked at?
Who knows? We can't see it because the way they decide to shoot it is dumb.
I think that was 102.3.
That is what it said.
Yeah, that was your first, yeah.
Yeah, and that was certainly faster than what I just watched from that guy with the mullet.
Well, first of all, look at the running start I took. How is it not going to be over 100? I mean, I started in the parking lot. It's unbelievable. Well, I got to look at Shea Weber. He's a mountain man. I got to make up for something. Watch. Look at it. Look. Like, dude, that's the hardest I skated up probably all that season.
All right, we appreciate you. So I need to believe that was 105 out of Iafrate?
Yes, please, yes. Al Iafrate's no joke. That guy could shoot a puck. Yes.
Okay.
I would say
Where'd you
that's
get those
legit.
shades?
I got these shades. Henrik Bibskoff. There's a store in Soho. I walked by it one day. I saw a crazy pair of pajamas. I walked in. They had these sunglasses. I couldn't walk out without them. And I got the pajamas, too.
Well, thank you for your service. Ladies and gentlemen, PK Subban. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, PK.
All right, I believe it.
Yeah.
Because he could potentially, in a competitive atmosphere, say, yeah, all those old guys, the numbers were rigged. But he didn't say that. He said he could really clap it. That's what he said.
And I can clap it, too.
Yeah.
I'm about to hit 150 after the show. Come out here and fucking rip it.
Yeah, what's the deal with the angle? Let's go right behind the human.
Makes no sense.
Can we get a goalie cam? That's where I want to see it from.
Yeah, they should have a ref right behind the net with a.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right there.
Yep.
Then I believe it. Put one on the crossbar.
Easy.
Shea Weber actually put one through the net in the Olympics. So
See.
Oh, how fast was that going? 104?
yeah, I think they have it.
At what?
1-0 something.
5 or more?
I'm not sure the exact, but
He was
it up
108
there.
in that contest.
Oh.
Shea Weber was a
Wow.
So Al would shoot at 220 miles an hour with the current stick?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Easily.
Let's get this guy on the ice.
Yeah, please.
What's he up?
The goalie's the shooter.
Yeah,
I mean, what are we
exactly.
even doing? Okay, so where's he from? He's a Canadian guy?
I'm not sure, actually. He played for Washington for a while.
So maybe he's a Russian.
Doesn't sound like it.
There's a lot going on with Russia right now.
Yeah, there's a lot
not hockey based.
No, different stuff.
Iafrate's from Dearborn, Michigan.
Oh, he's an American, of course.
Oh, hell yeah.
Of course he shoots it hard. I believe it. Let's get to a break. How did we figure that out? American muscle.
He was 6'3", 240. Yeah.
American male.
Hockey town.
Yeah, you're right. What was I even thinking? Downton
Freddie.
He's a Montreal Canadian, so
Fourth overall
assume.
I'll tell you what, these fucking Americans, when they get that big wooden stick,
Oh, baby.
and they got that flow,
Yeah.
Change the game.
clap, bombs happening. Al Iafrate, the American hope. Clap bomb 105 miles an hour.
Thank you, Al.
Thank you for doing that, Al.
Thank you, Al.
American hope, Iafrate.
Real roller coaster of emotions and thoughts about Al over this last 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, well, they should have led with him being
You're all in
American.
now.
Would have fucking helped.
This show sucks. We know that. All right, on the other side, we got a lot to do, a lot to talk about. It's Super Bowl week.
Yep.
Okay?
Hell yeah.
Did you hear about the Niners? They're pissed, AJ. We can't wait to get
They
your
are.
take on that. Le'Veon Bell's potentially playing football again.
March-ish. He'll work out again.
Sure.
Yeah, see if he still got it.
Hey, I need to have another month living a little bit.
It's awesome.
Let me work out to work out. I appreciate it. And then we'll wrap up this glorious kickoff to Super Bowl week.
Hell yeah.
Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change your life. Take 5.
Bye.
Hey, we're up to something big.
Hey, we're announcing something big, AJ.
We are up to something. This is the coolest moment of the history of my existence. I think people are going to be startled. It's a joke, and I can't thank everybody enough, honestly. I'm up to something.
It is a big time day. Let's go. Not only are we going back to Plum to do something cool, but today is the day that our heater horse has arrived for the Super Bowl.
It's a pretty big deal. You know, whenever you get a chance to give back to where you're from, especially a place that helped create me and mold me, I'm very, very lucky to do it. I'm lucky to be from here, and it seems like the only smart thing to do would be give back.
Stinks here, huh? What's up, Kennywood, dude? Kennywood is named after Kenny's Woods. A man named Kenny owned the hill in the woody area. They turned it into an amusement park, which is a Yinzer staple. So Jeezy actually shouts out this area we're in currently.
I think life can be much simpler whenever you just take care of your people, enjoy your life, and do your thing, and that's all we're trying to do.
You know, growing old, slowly dying. How about you? How's everybody? I'm gonna give a full lead up to how I got to wearing mats.
I think I'm very lucky to be from here. If you're a kid that has walked through these halls, you understand something that not a lot of people do. I think Plum is a much different place than everywhere else.
And there's Nick up there. Go look at Nick, how pissed off he is. This past summer, I was driving through here because I was here for an event, and Angelo Bolino, little blonde-haired kid, was kicking on the same field that I used to kick on as a child. And he had like 2 balls in a holder. And I was watching him kick, and then he would go shag for himself, and then he would come back and kick. And the easy question is, if he had 10 balls, how much better could Angelo Bolino be? If I would have been able to have 10 balls, 15 balls, new cleats, new everything, chances to go to camps with my teammates and everything, what could have happened? So I said to myself, literally after meeting with Angelo, great season by the way, dude. I said if I ever get a chance, I'm gonna try to take care of the potential humans and kids that were in my exact position in Plum. I'm gonna give $200,000 to the Plum area soccer. I'm gonna give $150,000 to the PMFA youth football. I'm gonna give $100,000 to the baseball youth. I'm gonna give $100,000 to the lacrosse. And then we're gonna have $2 million in this fund that'll just start. And hopefully it'll only go on from there. Sweet stuff for sports.
Just anything to make everybody's, the teams and the players' lives easier, better. Trying to streamline the entire process of taking care of the athletes at Plum High School is kind of what it's all about.
Hey, you too. Wow, dude, that was cool. All right, Narati, like the MD.
You're going to have a lot of people that have never accomplished anything in their life tell you that what you're thinking about doing isn't possible. Just because they don't think they could accomplish it doesn't mean anything to you. Cheers, everybody. Hey, we're all Mustangs here. Let's go.
Just want to do what's right, but turned around and got dropped.
Great sportsmanship.
Into the cover, he has sportsmanship, but Mia Hill just picked up her first win ever in NXT.
Here is your winner, Thea.
What are you going to do to change and make Tua better? Have you gotten into that? This is very early in the whole process, and you're shaking hands, kissing babies right now, and you're a 0-win head coach that everybody loves.
0 wins.
0 win, but what are you thinking about that for Tua? How do you make him better?
We're going to start with scoring more points than the opponent.
Wow!
Holy shit. Oh, no.
You are changing the game.
Changing the game.
Yeah.
Through math.
Yeah, that's right.
No, I think there's... I was just so fortunate in my career to be around the process of how I look at things with the empowerment of the right teachers that I look backwards, forwards, okay? What things do I see that are really awesome about his game on tape, even though we're at...
He's accurate as heck.
Boom! That's what I was just about to say.
Oh, I didn't know. I was just... you were leading me. You should do this, maybe.
Dude,
Think about it in the future.
Dude.
But he's accurate.
Or we should just spend the time finishing each other's...
sentences.
Oh, okay.
Hey, have we known each other for...
our whole lives?
Oh, my God.
You tell...
Me?
Wow. This is weird.
Dude.
Whoa,
Seems
what
like
a-
you guys just became.
Dude.
Wow, this is fucking weird, AJ.
Bro.
Hey, this is.
Did we swap skins?
Wow, we learned a lot about yours, by the way. I mean,
Yeah.
Jalen Milroe often wears his own branded apparel, reading LANK across the front. It's an acronym that stands for Let a Naysayer Know. Being told by his former offensive coordinator,
that
Bill
is
O'Brien.
not what I thought.
Is that not what you thought?
Boy, let a naysayer know.
Let a naysayer know.
Of course.
The professional's right in the middle of his lead. That's all right. I just keep going.
You almost lost me. It got real tight up here as you were. I just want to let you know.
Reese, you was too smooth with that. I thought it was going down. I thought it was going down out here.
Oh, sorry about it. Let a naysayer know.
Let a naysayer know.
Naysayer know. That's what we thought the whole time. That's what we all thought. Hey.
Why?
Let's go. This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for. The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers, you pig! Damn it! Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life. Sport! Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to our humble abode, the Thunderdome, on this Super Bowl kickoff. Monday, February 5th, Hour 3 begins now. Football! It is absolutely glorious. This hour is brought to you by our friends at Topgolf. It's golf. It's not golf. It's Topgolf.
Hell yeah.
For a limited time, get half off golf Monday through Wednesday when you book in the Topgolf app. Offer not valid at the Topgolf in Las Vegas, but I do believe it is valid everywhere else. Speaking of, Arkansas debuted a brand new Topgolf this weekend and really made some headlines with the way the humans were acting in their bays and falling out of their bays. Now, obviously, we love Arkansas folks.
Oh, yeah.
We love the woo. Pig Stewie! But they did struggle, it seems like, to either stay in the bay, and then once they fell out of their bay into the safety net, spotlights were needed, humans were needed, and I've been told this lady's safe.
Okay.
Nice. Good net. That's a good net.
That's a good net. They tested it out quick, that net. Shout out to the people at Topgolf changing the game and being on board for this Super Bowl run. We appreciate the hell out of Topgolf. Remember, got to book in advance.
Yeah.
And it's going to be packed out when you get there.
Always is.
But the vibes are going to be high. Mm-hmm. It's, even if you suck at golf,
doesn't matter.
You can be good.
Yeah. They're
at
games.
Topgolf.
Mm-hmm.
They figured it out.
Yeah. And if it's cold out, they have the heaters. Like, that's the best part. The heated base. It's a game changer.
Shout out to Topgolf.
Solid food, too.
Great food.
Yeah, food's delicious.
Good drinks.
Delivered to you.
Yep.
I mean, it's
You get boozed up.
Topgolf's a real fucking game changer.
It is. Great time.
Now there's obviously replications of Topgolf.
Yeah.
People are trying to figure out Topgolf of other sports.
Baseball one looks
it
sweet.
could be a Topgolf of this sport. And that doesn't happen often. So congrats to them. And thank you for joining us for the last couple weeks and for the week ahead. That's AJ Hawk. This guy won a Super Bowl.
Whoa!
Yeah, this guy won a Super Bowl. The Toxic Table is here at Boston Connor and at Ty Schmidt. One half of the Hammer, Dahn. Cowboys 10 Diggs is here. Sweet cowboy cap.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's it's a classic.
What's that?
I went through in my head whether I was going to give them a shout out on their name brand or not, and I decided not to.
Okay, I appreciate that. Listen, you do whatever you need to do. You handle however business you need to handle.
No free ads.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, especially for you.
Yeah.
Especially for you. 9-year NFL vet Darius J. Butler is here.
Baby D-Butler.
AJ, news that I think Tone Diggs said that we should bring up for you is the fact that the defensive coordinator job for the Dallas Cowboys, now that Dan Quinn is the head coach of the Commanders, are kind of two OGs' names, Rivera and Zimmer. And I believe you played for Zimmer in Cincinnati. Did not. Okay.
That was on me.
Unfortunately, I did not play for Zimmer, but I was in Cincinnati with all those guys that absolutely loved him. That's all they did was talk about how he's a hard-nosed dude that's going to absolutely hold you accountable, and his defense they're always humming. So yeah, Who do you think is going to get it? Him, Rivera? Does Al Harris have any talk about him? Is any chatter about it?
I don't know. All these coordinator jobs, it feels like we don't know shit about fuck.
No.
Ever.
Legitimately. Like, who ends up getting hired in places? You know, obviously everybody's looking for consistency. In the modern NFL, though, they're moving on from people quickly. Do you want to get an older coach who's already established? So maybe if they have success, they don't even get tempted by going and being a head person because they don't want to deal with all the bullshit. They just want to coach ball. That might be the case.
And doesn't matter. Apparently, it doesn't matter at all that, the Commanders fired their DC. I think it was a dust-up or something like that. And then Ron took over. Nice. And they had the worst defense in the NFL. Like, that doesn't matter?
And Ron Rivera has said and did some things over the last couple of years that made us question whether or not he even wanted to coach.
Yeah.
Does this guy even know he's coaching ball right now? But I appreciate the fact that he's like, yeah, and I still want to coach ball. And if you get him in the coordinator job, which is where I guess he thrived before he became a head coach a long time ago, maybe he'll get back into it. It'll be interesting just to see what they do because they got a lot of weapons on that Dallas Cowboys defense.
Absolutely. I would love to see Al Harris get that job. That was one of AJ's former teammates, obviously a South Florida guy. But all the guys, even when guys go down, like Diggs goes down, Bland had a great rookie year. He came back, had another unbelievable year. Gilmore, and it's been a revolving door for a couple years on the opposite side of Diggs. But anybody that came in that secondary has performed to a high level, and I think that's indicative of what they're being coached, how they're being coached with Al Harris. So, and everybody that speaks about him speaks greatly about him. So I would love to see him get that job.
I assume that's a highly sought-after position down there in Dallas, AJ.
I would say any position on the Dallas Cowboys staff is, but especially the defensive coordinator. When you have a guy like Micah Parsons, you have all the studs that they have. Diggs coming back, yeah, I'd say you'd want that gig.
Yeah, and let's just assume they'll get it right.
Yeah,
they will. No doubt. Jerry and Steven?
Jerry Jones will get it right.
Come on.
He'll get it as true and right as Iafrate.
Big Al Iafrate.
Big Al Iafrate. We were talking about Al Iafrate during the break, AJ. Yeah. And with the more information that we learned about him from Dearborn, Michigan, and everything like that, those speedometers are wrong. But he probably hit that 109.
Might have should have the record.
It's faster.
Yeah,
okay.
Maybe. I mean, there's a chance that this guy's clap bomb actually got screwed out a couple miles per hour because of the technology at the time. And I know that maybe at one point we were saying there's no way that went 105 miles an hour look a lot slower, but now that we're thinking about it, it might have went faster too. We don't know.
Yeah, I mean, looking back on it, we were saying how you can see the puck the whole time. You really can't see it now that I'm watching it again. Like it does kind of just disappear. It's a little bit of a blur and then appears, in the bottom right of the net. So, yeah, who's to say that this isn't 115, 120?
And the frames per second back then, we watched Dateline. If you watch any Dateline, they're always like, well, the cameras were so bad back in the day, you have no idea what's happening in between the frames.
Right.
So I said that might look like it's 72 miles an hour, 73 miles an hour. That's because the frame rate wasn't able to keep up with how fast he was shooting that puck.
Right. Probably shot in like 30 hertz, 20 hertz. Right now we're at anywhere from 60 to 120 hertz. So, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, 73 maybe add 100 to it.
Yeah. He might have hit that thing 170 miles an hour.
It's certainly possible.
And the technology just couldn't keep up with the Iafrate.
Never doubted him. Not for a second. What is he doing currently? Anybody know?
He is currently the head shooting. Hold on.
He runs a hedge fund. I think billions of dollars is what he's doing.
He is the lead consultant for shooting and hockey sticks for the Columbus Blue Jackets of the NHL.
Oh, yeah. And they just so happen to have the most explosive offense in the NHL.
I thought they stopped.
No, they
the
have
Blue Jackets? No, they're unbelievable.
They have the hardest shots.
Idea.
They have the hardest shots per average.
I think this is kind of like when the mayor went over to New York.
Yeah, exactly.
And became their hitting coach.
This is the NHL's mayor. That's who Iafrate is.
Yep.
This is how we're deciding to kick off Super Bowl.
He was previously involved with the research and development department with Warrior Hockey, which is hockey stick. So they said, hey, let's get the greatest, hardest hockey puck shooter of all time, and let's bring him in here. Okay.
I'm happy he's still giving back to the game. I'm happy he's giving back to the game because there's only guys like that only come around once.
Sweet tat.
Oh my God, this American man is the best.
Is that a cigarette?
Yeah, he put it out on himself. He's a fucking animal. All the cigs he ever smoked, he put out on himself.
Actually.
All right, let's go through some other news that we have not covered today. Away from Iafrate, who has the fastest clap bomb in the history of hockey.
The record will never be broken.
Hockey Town's finest.
And to be clear, the Columbus Blue Jackets suck, right, Nick?
Yeah, they do not have a great team this year.
But their offense
and their slap shots.
Well, if their offense was good, they would not suck.
No, the goalie is just a fucking bag of shit. Iafrate's doing everything he can. He just can't. I don't know.
That's hockey.
That's hockey.
It's the off season.
Yeah, get used to this.
Speaking of the off season, there is pictures floating around from North Carolina Duke basketball games that truly showcase what some people are going to see in Drake May and make their eyes kind of get very bright in the NFL. That's Sam Howell, obviously quarterback for the Commanders this past season and the year before. He's a UNC grad. The quarterback that followed him at UNC is the one to his right drinking a bottle of water. That's Drake May. And although he has like a baby face and kind of looks young, he is massive. He is a gigantic human being. I think that's going to be a part of this entire combine draft process that is going to startle some folks. Now, everybody has him in the top 3 prospects for this particular draft. They have Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May. They're talking about those guys being the quarterbacks of this draft. During the process, Drake is going to steal some shine, not only because of like how he is, like football IQ wise, and he had an entire year with Clyde Christensen, who's obviously been an NFL quarterback coach for decades and decades, had success with Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, you name it, whenever he was at UNC. But his size is alarming, AJ. This is not a Siciliano situation. That's how big this motherfucker is. And when I met him, that was literally my first takeaway, was like, holy shit, this guy is huge. And that's a massive piece of being an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, I'd say, what are the dims on him? Do you know?
They're probably going to come in like 6'5" or something like that, if we had to guess.
I thought that, hey, we played the first time we ever played the Colts. And, you know, in Green Bay, they have rotating captains, as we saw with the Jair Alexander situation. Had when Jair threw himself in there, which was amazing. Yep. And all I remember is seeing, it was the first time I played against the Colts with Peyton. And I just saw how, I was like, this guy's an absolute giant. I couldn't believe, I guess I knew he was big. But then when you see him in person, you're like, oh my goodness, like that, what is that? Like,
Andrew, same thing. Andrew.
Eli, same thing too.
Cam Newton.
Yeah.
One of the,
oh gosh, yeah, Cam.
Like,
Seven.
And I guess Ben Roethlisberger as well. But when you see them, they're around offensive linemen. Okay, normally the photos you see them, they're either around in the huddle offensive linemen, and offensive linemen are obviously gigantic human beings. So you don't really get a good tell on how large they are in perspective to normal human beings. And then you see them and you're like, damn, this human is gigantic. And everybody automatically assumes that goes to a durability factor. Is that an accurate kind of drawing between the two,
like
you think?
Usually it plays. All the guys we mentioned were pretty durable. Obviously, Cam did a lot of running, and towards the later end of his career, he started to get banged up. And you know, it is football, so guys are going to get injured. But typically, I feel like it goes in that direction. Peyton was pretty durable. Eli. You know, a lot of these.
I think Tom's even huge.
Yeah,
Tom's big. You know, long guy, but yeah, I think
that's why the Bryce Young conversation was such a big one.
Yeah.
Because everybody's like, he's small, but he's the Steph Curry of football. Now, under David Canales, and Dan Morgan is seemingly changing the entire mindset down there and getting dogs, and we all got high hopes for Bryce. But that's why it was such a big conversation, because size does matter at the quarterback position historically. There's been undersized guys who've had success. Drew Brees has had success. He's like 6'1". Kyler Murray has had some success, although he hasn't won the big one. He's like 6 foot tall.
Russ.
But Russ Wilson, I think he's like 5'11" or 6 foot tall. But it's not very normal for somebody who's undersized to have success at that position, because you got to be able to see, you got to be able to take massive hits. And normally, a lot of power comes from big size, like Big Al Iafrate.
Exactly.
With how big he was, and obviously being able to put a clap bomb at 110, 120 miles an hour.
Well, and just like realizing how different the game is too, right? Because, I mean, last year the biggest, strongest, fastest quarterback was Anthony Richardson. He was the only one that didn't make it through the season, didn't make it halfway through the season. So, like, how hard is it for that aspect of it too? Like, even when you do have the build, like, hey, it doesn't matter. The light hits that were in college, those light hits aren't, they don't exist in the NFL.
Yeah, and to your point about that, like C.J. Stroud, big.
Yeah.
Like whenever you see him, he's bigger than you think he is. So I think it bodes well for Drake. I think personally, this entire draft process. But there are going to be people that are asking questions about why he didn't win more games. But if he transfers to any of these schools, imagine he transferred to Ohio State.
Oh, Bama.
Bama allegedly had like a $5 million offer. Allegedly. We don't know what's real and what isn't. Bama allegedly had like a $5 million offer. We assume with what Ohio State has done this offseason, they also had a massive offer. Would he have won more games? Instead, he said, I ain't leaving North Carolina. My heart's in North Carolina, which is loyalty, which people will certainly appreciate in the draft process as well. It's also funny and fickle on what people care about, what they don't care about. It's just who falls in love with what. Drake May has a lot of things people are going to fall in love with, AJ.
Yeah, don't you think it's also goes back, makes people feel safe or comfortable picking him high because it's like, oh, that's like the old school thought of there's a prototype NFL quarterback, big, tall dudes that get rid of the ball and make good decisions. Like when you look at them, they look like they're your franchise guy. Now, we know that's different. Now it's changed how the quarterback position is played in the NFL, but I think it makes, especially probably older people as well, makes them feel like more comfortable, I think, when somebody has that big stature to them.
Well, they feel like they can cover their ass, whenever they make the decision.
Well, look at this guy. He is the prototype. Yeah, that's
What do you want? I mean, you saw him. We saw him. He's exactly what we wanted him to be.
Justin Herbert.
Huge.
Another one of those
Huge.
guys.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tom.
He can,
No, I'm sorry.
People look at him and they don't. He ran for almost 700 yards last year and 500 yards, not as many this year, but had like 16 touchdowns too. He could move and run too. Like, he's not big and just a pocket guy. He is athletic.
Great basketball player, right? Because he grew up in a family of basketball players.
Oh, yeah.
Very competitive. I think that'll be a big part of his entire thing. But his size, I think when people see him, will be very startling.
Was he durable in college?
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay. Well, I feel like I'm one of those guys where if you play through shit in college, if you're durable in college, typically it plays out like that in the NFL. Like we mentioned Anthony Richardson, I think he was pretty banged, had some injuries and stuff in college. So I think however you start that, just like, hey, you make plays, you get interception in college, you get sacks in college, a lot of times that shit translates to the NFL. I feel the same way about durability.
I hope AR.
He will. Positive vibes. Positive
Yes, he will.
vibes. Yeah.
AR will.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
don't even be a little worried.
I don't know. I saw C.J. Stroud in the Pro Bowl. He rolled left, flipped his hips.
Yeah.
Like that to a guy he's never thrown to before.
AR can do that.
Yeah, you can't think about that stuff. You can't think about
Absolutely, AR can do that. Absolutely.
Yeah. We saw it in training camp.
Yeah, you just have to focus.
Combine.
Just focus on the Colts. Don't focus on what the Texans are doing.
Well, they're in the same division.
Well, that's what's tough now is
tough.
the expectations are just going to be so unrealistic because you watched C.J. Stroud this entire year, and it's very easy to see how special he is. So no matter what AR does, it's going to be like, well, C.J. Stroud, same draft class.
AR's going to be a guy. He had more touchdowns than CJ first four weeks.
Boom. Beat the hell out of CJ in Houston.
Bingo. Yeah, that's what AR does.
True.
He got hurt at the end of the game, but he beat the hell out of him.
I hope we can keep it safe. We had center and guard at the Pro Bowl this weekend.
True.
Yep.
Yeah. Quentin Nelson, Ryan Kelly. Now, I hope Shane Steichen is able to keep him safe. Kind of Coach of the Year candidate.
You were one drop pass away from going to the playoffs with your backup quarterback.
Now, we don't know what CJ does after he gets the ball back, after we score there.
Buckner sits his ass down. That's what we know.
Okay. Well, that's not what we know about CJ Stroud, but you're right. You're the lot house. You're right. In the lot house, walking down the field after Gardner Minshew
good luck.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Maybe in fairy tale land.
Yeah, exactly.
In this one.
Yeah, so the Colts are actually the AFC South champions.
Pretty much.
And we have a Pro Bowler as a backup.
Well.
So, I mean,
Which is
who else
worse,
has that?
right?
Worse.
Yeah, you kind of have to make a decision. Like, do we want to mortgage the future on AR,
we don't.
or do we just give it to the Pro Bowl?
Everybody knows.
You guys are going to invest in Gardner. Yeah.
That's what I would do.
We should definitely keep Gardner.
$45 million a year.
They're saying Baker's going to get $40 million a year.
What?
I think that's the going price.
From who? From
I don't
Tampa?
know. I don't know. They're just saying $40 million a year. There was another price for somebody that came out that was like much more than I had expected. Maybe Kirk.
Is it Kirk? Yeah.
80, 2 years, $80 million. He's
I saw that. Yep.
potentially going to get.
I thought more.
What?
Kurt?
I mean,
damn.
Everybody needs a quarterback. Everybody wants a quarterback.
Just tore his Achilles.
Yeah, but Kirk Cousins, businessman.
Yeah,
very smart.
Mr. March.
Goff's about to get a big deal, too.
Right now, if you got 40, you would be the 12th highest paid quarterback.
Jesus.
That's awesome.
Per year.
Good for you boys.
Holy hell.
Good for you boys. Go and get it. I think I saw Lamar Jackson got $80 million this year total.
Oh, yeah.
80 mil.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well deserved, Lamar. I think they took a big chunk of that now out. So going forward, hopefully they're able to keep building. Le'Veon Bell said, I'll start working out about a month from now. I'll be able to tell immediately whether or not I'm going to be able to be a guy or not. And he said he wants to come back and return for the Pittsburgh Steelers, seemingly.
He does. I thought the same thing when he said he's going to start working out in March. So he hasn't been.
Now, this is
not
from
March, not March 1st. But.
This is from JPA Football, so we have no idea where it came from.
Sure. I think Lev was talking on a podcast or something like that, if I saw it correctly. Lev had a great career at the Steelers. He even mentioned he should have stayed there. He should have never left. Would only play for Tomlin. But, we're pretty good at running back position right now. But if he wants to come back, I'm sure there's a lot of other suitors. That would be great.
You don't know. You don't even know what he doesn't even know what he looks like.
No.
Yeah.
You don't even know what he looks like.
What do you mean?
If he's the same, now you see me, now you don't guy. Not a bad human to have maybe in the stable, in the backfield.
Good change up.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially Artie Smith calling the shots.
Have him teach Naj.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Naj, here's a little thing you can do. Jalen Warren, here's a little move. Just be super slow, and then boom, we're out and we're
Out of the backfield, though, him run those, Le'Veon run the those little routes out of the backfield with a 5-way go on you. Good luck. You can't stop that.
He was the focal point.
Oh, yeah.
Of the, I remember it like it was yesterday.
Killer bees.
Team meeting, yeah. Team meeting. Chuck lays out game wrecker. D coordinator lays out game wreckers. We need to stop this guy, Le'Veon Bell. Now you see me, now you don't. Magic man. You think he's in your grasp? He's gone. Then Ben Roethlisberger would go on to throw for 585 yards and 6 touchdowns in that particular game. Le'Veon Bell, that was not one of them. So they did eliminate him. He had a run there for like 4 years where he was the greatest player in football, seemingly,
Yeah, I think
for
it was
a bit.
15, 16, 17, like those years where he was unbelievable, and then he got hurt before the AFC Championship of the 17 game.
Oh, yeah.
Which hurt a lot. He was unbelievable. And then he wrapped in his driveway and really kind of went downhill from there.
Well, he needed 17 M's.
That's right.
That's what he needed. Held out. Then he got $30 million, I believe, from the Jets. And it did not work out over there. Now he's thinking about getting back in shape. Good on you. Good luck, Lev.
Good luck, Lev.
Let's talk about Liv this past weekend. Impossible to watch, but it did happen.
Yep.
Joaquin Neiman gets a massive win. Congrats to him. Rom was almost the champion of his first ever event. Although his team won, he did not win the individual. They were playing in the pitch dark, and Joaquin Neiman buried a putt with a bunch of shit on the screen. And shout out to Liv. Shout out to Liv, AJ.
Was this supposed to be finished at night? I mean, they got lights out there, obviously, or some kind of lighting.
Yeah, I went to extra holes.
And this was the fourth player.
You're right, though.
After the third, when they asked him, did they want to keep playing, and the crowd was, hey, one more hole. So
where'd you
And
watch?
the crowd was.
It was on
CW?
CW, yeah, YouTube TV.
What's with all the score? And I saw some clips, too, with Rom and all that. And all of the graphics on the left side, I'm trying to decipher what's happening right now.
AJ, you and I are asking the same questions, and we're old people yelling at the clouds. I also don't love.
Say it.
Say it.
Go on.
The shorts?
You talked to Phil about it.
I don't
think
mind
the shorts look.
the shorts. Okay, whatever. Guys are playing there because they won't wear shorts.
That's right.
If you want to show off the calves, do what you got to do. I can't take seriously. Okay, real meaningful golf happening. And I got T-Pain blaring in the background. Like, it's just hard for me. It is hard for me to take it serious. Because you think about the majors and the masters, and the big thing is like,
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
this is real serious. And people are like super dialed in. And like Friday, cool with the music. Saturday, cool with the music. But on Sunday, when it's like meaningful, it's hard for me to, because what if we go and we have the aux cord? Then we just get to control the entire vibes of like a winning hole or not. Like I appreciate that they're doing things differently, but first of all, I can't find it
anywhere.
It's hard for me to find.
It's very difficult to find.
Foxy went to CW.com.
Yeah, I had to get my laptop out because I couldn't find it on my TV. Go to CW.com. It was right in front of me on their website, so that did help a little bit.
Easy to find there.
Yes.
We want to watch Rombo Bombo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, we are big Rombo Bombo fans. So we wanted to watch. We see it. It's just hard for me, and I get the music is awesome, and I can't golf without music. I actually lose my mind. But I'm also not playing for millions of dollars and for like actual things. It's just, there's some things that I love about it. There's some things that I hate about it. And there's some things I'm like, I can't take this seriously. And that's the music part on Sunday when we're coming down to win this thing is one of them. Now there's people that love it though. So I might be in the wrong.
As a competitor though, would you want to do it different on the biggest day? Like, so you're doing it Friday, Saturday one way, and then on Sunday now we change it up and take the music away?
As a competitor,
Maybe.
I'm having somebody follow the people I don't like with a boombox, and they're playing shit music for 18 straight holes. That's what I'm doing. I'm getting terrible music in there for 18 holes on somebody I'm competing against with my music playing on my particular side with a bigger speaker. I just think you're getting into an interesting game there when it's fans are controlling what's being heard and the sound for these moments that are supposed to be big. I don't know. I'm an old man, though, potentially yelling at the cloud. I also didn't like the shit on the green while this guy's about to pop.
I was just going to say that. My takeaway from watching those playoff holes, the last couple holes in general, was there's a lot to get used to. And that stuff on the green, I didn't like it because I didn't know if the putt was going to go in or not because it quite literally was in the way. So I didn't like that because when you watch a normal, PGA event, you can kind of tell when a putt might go in or if it's tracking. With that stuff, can't tell at all. So I just got to get used to it. Maybe same with the music, same with the shorts, all of it. There's just a lot I got to get used to.
You can't get used to the short. You don't like these guys letting the calves breathe?
I played golf in high school. We wore shorts. I loved wearing shorts. I get it, but it's just different, and I got to get used to it.
It does feel amateur, Foxy, don't it? I'm glad they should wear. It should be less stuffy of a situation, but when I see him when they wear shorts, it doesn't feel like it's as big of an event. I think.
Agreed. I think all
that's an old man take for sure. I'm sure, but it just when I see the visual of it, it just doesn't feel like it's a huge game or a huge event.
And on the green, the graphic, it wasn't like PGA 2K where they were telling the break.
No.
Because he ends up putting this thing
Yeah,
outside
what are they
of
telling
it.
you? What are they trying to tell you?
I couldn't see anything.
Bad. Yeah, I hate that.
I think it needs to be like an arc. They need to arc that situation.
Yeah, they don't. It's not like a tracker. It's just like, hey, this is where this guy is trying to hit the ball straight to. But this isn't where the hole is.
They need to get rid of that shit.
Yeah, they have to.
Agreed.
Because there's that, and then like you were saying, the stuff on the side, like the broadcast in general. Like I know it's new. Like you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Like guess what? We've been watching golf for 30 years. Like there's certain ways to do this shit. It works. Like just do it like that. That's fine. Like a big part of it is we're going to watch these golfers who aren't in the like you want to see Rahm. Like you don't need to see all that goofy bullshit on the green to see whether or not the.
I don't know who was doing the call though. Great call.
Yeah, the call was awful.
They got David Faraday.
It wasn't Faraday.
Farady's over there.
Faraday is over there, but whoever did like the play-by-play was like they scored a goal in the 90th.
All right, sweet. So there's some things we all have to get used to.
Yeah.
But also, I think the biggest thing is us finding it to watch it.
Yeah.
YouTube, I think it was on YouTube at one point.
So on Friday, someone tweeted me this, but I know I could find it on Friday. I could find it on normal ass YouTube, which was awesome. Saturday I didn't try. Sunday was not on normal ass YouTube.
Why don't they just do paid programming somewhere? Just say, hey, we're going to pay you to take this spot. They got a never-ending amount of money.
Also, is CW not a channel on YouTube TV or basic cable or anything?
It was.
Because I couldn't find it.
One Tree Hill, right?
Yeah, One Tree Hill.
I'm pretty sure it is. Foxy.
Okay, so that was a me problem.
And it helped that, Pebble Beach was rained out.
Yeah.
So that they had some good shit going on over there as well. So they only played 54 holes, so that definitely helped. And then you had the 4 playoff holes, which was cool. I thought it was pretty good. Definitely got to get used to the names, the team, the logos. It's probably some of the goofy shit you're talking about, and those graphics on the green and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the replay, definitely.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
But live in the moment, it's like, hey, this to win the fucking tournament here? Like, what are we?
They're trying to be innovators. They're trying to usher in the future of golf, how you watch it, maybe, I guess.
And we are not the right people to be giving counsel or advice because we're not in the golf world. We're just talking about as just basic ass people watching this thing. It is hard to take some of its shit serious.
Yeah.
But the players in there, dogs, dude.
Dogs.
Absolute dogs. Good golf happening out there.
How do the rankings and points work? Because the first thing he said afterwards was like, hey, not in any of the majors. Not in any of the 4 majors. And obviously, I think he shot a 59 in the first round. So how does that...
D-But that's the thing. We
still
don't know.
Yeah, they don't know.
I mean, you guys were watching golf.
If you're
forever,
on the tour, if you're on the PGA Tour and you have a win, you normally get exemption into all the majors for that year. Or if you've won a major before, you get exemption. Or if you're top 25, you get exemption. But they're not getting the golf points, the world golf ranking points.
Like
so
zero.
None. They don't view it as real.
Because it's only 54 holes.
That and I think because
the field wasn't strong enough.
The graphics on the field.
Yeah, the graphics on the green.
Shorts.
I think if they got rid of the graphics on the green,
they'd consider it.
Yeah. All right, fine, bring it back.
We don't know. We don't know.
It was a great leaderboard, though.
Yeah,
I mean, it was Sergio, Neiman, and then Rahm was in there, and then a couple other great guys.
Brooks.
Yeah, Tom
Does
Smith
anyone
was
care
in
about
there.
the team? Anyone care about the team aspect? I
No.
know that's a big pushing thing.
Rom's team won, but he after he lost, he was not necessarily thrilled. But then he was reminded his team won, and then he was pumped.
Oh yeah,
nice.
Look out
Is anyone cheering for teams? Like, okay, I'm rooting for whatever the team.
I'm a massive Legion 13 fan.
That is Rom's team.
Yeah,
and I live and die with the Aces.
And I
always have.
live and die with the Bombers.
Exactly.
So there you have it.
So yeah, people do care, AJ.
Yep.
Hey, I was just asking a question. It's good to know.
Got your answer.
Joel Embiid is getting surgery on his left meniscus.
Bummer.
And this is because he was forced to play because the 65-game rule that was initiated by the NBA and the NBPA this year. So LeBron has certainly come out against everybody that was forcing this guy to technically play, so maybe he could win another MVP or maybe get a bonus or hit an All-Star game. Something happened with Tyrese Halliburton, I do believe, as well.
Yeah, he tried to come back, hurt his hamstring again.
Because of the 65-game thing. So, I mean, the NBA's got its own set of problems happening right now. All we could say is, T's and P's, Joel. You've been playing great basketball. Can't wait for you to get back, pal.
I mean, it does suck for the guys that it's tied to their money. Because like Halliburton, if he doesn't get one of the all teams, he's losing like $40 million or whatever. So that sucks for them. But didn't they also, isn't LeBron and Chris Paul, aren't they the ones who probably agreed to this in part of the NBPA?
Yeah, but I think injuries were a part of a clause that they would like to add.
Okay,
that
makes sense.
I think actual injuries.
Not just sitting out.
There was a rule about that where if you played, I think, 62 games and you had an injury that kept you out for longer than a certain period of time, then you do get an exemption, but it wasn't significant enough.
We hope they come back healthy and better than ever. And Apple Vision is showcasing our fucking idiots in society.
Was this real? Was that clip real that I saw?
It's pretty perfect. We're getting an opportunity just to see, there's the fucking dipshit.
What's he doing? He's playing?
Oh, he just put up a shot. He's in the game right now.
Made it.
He's at the game, but he's in the game. And that happening in Boston's awesome because Boston's known for having a group of humans that normally would not let this happen. But I think as a collective, the Boston Celtics fans were like, let's let the dipshit look like a dipshit so that he can maybe get cooked. He's not the only one, though. There's people in cars with this thing on. There's people at lunch. There's people walking around. $3,500 is the cost of each of these. And obviously, you don't need to use your phones anymore. Your hand's free because you got these on. So thank you to Apple for making the world a little bit more connected, AJ.
Yeah, I can barely tell they're even wearing those things. Now, was that guy at the Celtics game, was he standing up doing that the whole game or hopefully just for that quick clip?
In Boston, I'd assume that was not for the entirety of the game.
No, you're not allowed to, I don't think. But believe me, we don't have to worry about that guy. That guy made himself known. He was on the floor. You can't assault anyone on the floor. Can't assault anyone ever.
Of course. We are strongly on that side.
But if you're in Boston and you're acting like an asshole, you will get treated like one. So that guy, he let himself be known, and I assume immediately after the game, he was found somewhere around North Station, maybe a little beat up and battered.
No.
It's good.
Did you guys see the guy walking around his house wearing this one and showing how it works just around your own house?
Oh, yeah. Have the grocery list on the fridge?
Yeah, because I will say, after seeing that one, it is kind of okay, this is how this works. Can get rid of all your TVs. You basically have the screen behind you on half the wall. I know. I'm just telling you how.
You have to wear the goggles.
I'm telling you why. Yes. Yeah.
What's the cord for?
That's because the battery dies.
Stinks. Yeah, exactly.
Does.
You got about 15 minutes unplugged, and then you have to fucking plug that thing in.
This is gonna be wild, man.
This is what the future is.
That's right.
And I'm pumped for it. I'm certainly pumped for it.
Yeah.
I can't wait. It is just like a big target, though.
Yeah, we'll see how long this lasts.
Playing though? Is he playing his own little game? Is that when he's crossing people over and hitting jumpers?
Well, I don't know if I don't know how many boards he got. I don't know how many points he put up. But I do know that we need to just understand that this is what the future looks like. And we need to somehow embrace it and be appreciative of it.
Yeah.
Because we're going to see more of these things.
Not mine, man.
A lot more.
$3,500.
Who's buying that? Who are buying? Who buys them?
That person.
Those people.
I bet it's impossible to find one of those right now. People are buying them for sure. That's the hottest ticket item. If you go into any Apple store, I guarantee they're either sold out or these things are probably reselling for 2-3 times that. I mean, people are just fucking wild.
Awesome. Shout out to Apple.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Don't have to hold your phone anymore.
That's right.
It's all in here. You got to
How
hold.
do you text? How do you text somebody back?
You do this.
You do this.
Yeah.
That's probably what it is.
Oh, that's cool.
Have you
That's pretty
haven't
cool.
seen him typing?
It's kind of like giving everybody your snaps.
And with your eyes. I guess they read your eyes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I saw a guy put 5 TVs up in front of him to Boston Connors.
Ooh, I didn't see that one.
You didn't?
Oh, okay.
No.
That's kind of cool. I like
Sundays?
Yeah, the guy put 5 TVs up in front of him, and then he was able to swap this game for this game when it went to a commercial.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Yeah, so he's great.
I like that.
Do you still have to wear the
headset?
At all times.
It's in the headset.
I don't like it.
What are you talking about? You wear a cowboy
You haven't tried it.
every
You haven't done it yet.
Cowboy hats
Tone.
are awesome. I can see with my eyeballs still.
The 5 TV thing was cool.
That thing is
Yeah,
that part is
sounds
cool.
cool.
This was the guy. Sweet hair, obviously. on
Great
this guy.
hair.
Oh, okay. This is different than.
Oh, this is dope.
Look, now he adds a game. And then he says, wait a second. What
But
if I
then,
don't
like-
like just that game? Can I add another game? Yeah, let me go ahead and add another
Weird
one.
little
Boom.
pinching you got to do with your fingers and stuff.
Well, that's the double tap, like a mouse.
How long? What is it? Your eyeballs feel like they're gonna pop out after like 4 minutes in this thing, or what?
No, this guy says he watches the entire. Look, there's 5 games. He's got 5 games on.
Do you have
That's
to
cool.
have the
I like
cool
this.
hippopotamus?
And he says, you know what? If this game's in commercial break, let me go ahead and put this other one in there in the big screen, because I want to switch it. Boom. You
Give me that.
over there. Pow.
Wow.
You're in the big screen now. And you got all the stats underneath.
It's actually kind of dope.
It is. That is a pretty dope little
Yeah,
thing.
that's sick.
Yeah. And then obviously you take a photo over there with the camera. And he's just in a basic ass apartment, guys.
Do you have
That's
to
what
sit
the
on the-
future looks like
Do you
right
have to
there.
sit on the floor?
Yep.
Looks like
You don't have to, but
Not allowed to use couches anymore.
Look,
yeah, you can sit on your couch, pal.
No,
Nope,
he
nope.
doesn't want to. He can even text his friends about it in there.
He films himself doing things.
We like this. Thank you, Apple.
Hey, doing things.
Good work, Apple.
All right, that's it. Lisa Ann still in jail?
No, I think
No,
she's
no,
out.
no.
Come on, Gump.
She's out.
Get to work.
She never actually got put behind bars.
She just got put in the car and then.
Yeah.
Was it a big work, you think?
She tweeted like,
No.
No, the tweet said it's not a bit, AJ.
Oh, okay. Well, I know you have a personal relationship with her, so I'm just checking.
Have you checked in on her?
Oh yeah, obviously.
And what you send, hey, I would never let that happen to you.
Yeah, and I know it's not a bit. Just making sure you're okay.
Happy here's Killer Mike. Is he still in jail? Do we know?
Yeah, what happened there?
I don't know.
unrelated misdemeanor allegedly.
Need to know.
At the
Seems like the right
fucking
time to
Grammys?
do that.
Yeah,
What do we do?
exactly.
Was it on the way to the Grammys? And they figured it out like, oh shit, this is Killer Mike's doing.
Where's Killer Mike? We got a warrant out for. Where's he at? Well, he just won 3 Grammys. Let's go get him right now. Killer Mike has been released from police custody after being detained by police following his wins at the 2024 Grammys. And new details are emerging about why he was arrested. Okay, let's go figure out those details.
Oh.
Killer Mike has been released. The rapper, after he won 3 Grammys during a pre-show ceremony.
Okay, there it is.
Misdemeanor battery.
Misdemeanor battery.
Yeah. Physical altercation at the site of the award show.
I mean, I could
And who said it was something previous, like a small previous thing?
Well, nobody really knew, I don't think. It seems like that's the world we live in.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people talking.
God help us all.
Oh.
Man whom they later identified as Killer Mike was arrested for an alleged physical altercation at the site of the award show. I would love it if he won and then just punch. I told you, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Knock the person out.
Maybe he knocked out Duck, and that's why he wasn't there.
We didn't even think about Duck Hodges.
Could be.
We didn't even think about Duck Hodges potentially getting knocked out of the Grammys.
I hope.
Duck would have never called the police.
No, you're right. You're right.
Duck would have ate that and said, you should have hit the
Bingo.
other side. I had a whole tin on that side.
bingo.
Why wasn't Will Smith arrested then?
Well, I guess that was certainly Stephen A's point. And Stephen A said, I'm not calling for Will Smith to get arrested either, but that was on TV assaulted. And he said, do your thing, have a good time, and then we'll get you later. Killer Mike was not afforded a similar opportunity.
It wasn't.
What did he do? He shoulder bop somebody?
Yeah, he must have just been too hyped and like pushed someone into like a glass table or something.
Isn't there a lot going on in the world right now that people aren't getting arrested for?
Oh, absolutely.
Now,
Always.
Killer Mike's biggest night, you decide to ruin it for him? What
Can't
are we
have
doing?
it. Can't have it.
We hope everybody's safe, obviously.
Yeah.
Right.
And we would like to say going forward, we hope nobody gets arrested.
Yes.
I
We
agree.
hope nobody breaks any laws, and we hope nobody dies.
Forever.
All right. That's how we wrap up today.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yep.
That's where we stand. If you're wondering where our program stands, we want nobody to be arrested,
Right.
nobody to break any laws, and nobody to die.
Yep.
And let Cody finish his fucking story, damn it.
Yeah, come on, Tone. Let him finish his program. Tone.
Amen.
All right. I'm sure there'll be more on that tonight. Monday Night Raw.
Yes.
USA Network. All right, we're lucky to be living this life. It's Super Bowl week. Even though we talk a little NHL because they had a great All-Star weekend
Great.
and we learned of a great American hero,
Of course.
Iafrate.
Iafrate.
Still doing it.
Still doing it. We get a chance to live the greatest lives on earth because people choose to watch and listen. You're the best humans on earth. Don't you ever forget it. And this week, we're going to try to provide the best shows that we possibly can. Tomorrow, we're back here. Then we're flying to Sin City. And Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the Radio Row should be electrifying. And it'll be days that'll make you say, oh, that's why I watch this show. Because some days you're going to really struggle to get through this program. Today, probably one of them. Yeah. Not to be too negative, tomorrow's probably another one.
For sure.
But then Wednesday will be a day you say, okay, that's why we watch this show.
Hot bats.
AJ, great work today. Boys, fantastic jobs. Let's enjoy the hell out of this. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change their life. We're in this thing together. Team on me, team on three. 1, 2, 3.
Team.
Goodbye.